I'll go ahead and record now. We're back! Hey, welcome back. As you can see, the blinding light of the sun is here. Um, can you not tell, DeQuack? Is it not obvious? Um, I mean, the sound quality is different, the lighting is different, the camera's different. I've got a giant sun wall of death over here. So here's my Charr. I'm actually really fond of this Charr. I like how she looks quite a bit. I'll show off all the character creation things in just a bit. But yeah, I know that in real life, white and black tigers are like terrible and sickly and awful, but they just look so cool. I typically have two Asura. That's because I hadn't decided. There's a bit of a story, but I'll actually tell you in Pathfinder. Or Path of Fire. But when Path of Fire came out, I had to decide between maining a Mesmer and maining a Revenant. I couldn't decide, so I made both. So these are actually identical characters. They have the exact same cosmetics. The only difference is this one has a different outfit than this one. Obviously, this is my original, my first character. I actually started the game on this. This was interesting. I'll talk about this a bit, but at launch, a lot of the classes kind of sucked, in my opinion. Guardian, which was billed as a tank, wasn't. And what was the other big one I played as? I think I actually started off as Elementalist. I hated Elementalist at launch. No offense, Giga. But honestly, a lot of the classes really didn't impress me. Like, I tried to get into Necro, that didn't work. I tried to get into Mesmer, that didn't work. Vanilla classes were just in a different place. So the one I settled on was the one I had already done the most on, just by virtue of the fact that I already had the most time spent on it. That was the Thief. Amusingly, I hated playing as a Thief. Nowadays, all the classes are good because the game is developed and the builds are better and the skills are better and blah, 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 blah. But back in vanilla, I was just, ooh. Anyways, so here's my Mesmer. I actually love the aristocratic look. And she looks so wonderfully alien there. I love it. This is my warrior. She actually has the wrong gear on, but we'll ignore that for a second. I love the ivy leaves for hair. This is also my most geared character. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the character I've been doing a lot of my legendary crafting on. Because this is also what I do my WVW on. Which is the other thing I've been doing lately. I don't know what you're talking about, Giga. Pay no attention to this. Pay no attention to this. So I have an outfit on and I shouldn't. There we go. There's my actual transmo. There we go. So this is what she actually looks like. See? This is actually a bunch of pieces from all over the place just to try and make it look like she's wearing some actual armor. And, of course, I got these things from Icebrood Saga. I love these things. These things are great. And just for the hell of it, the flower greatsword. I mean, it just felt like it fit her. But to show off what I meant by gear, ascended, 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 legendary. This is my most geared character, full tilt. And even though these are only exotics, as Giga can point out, yeah, these things are not cheap. That's why they're exotics. I'm actually really pleased with this character, and this is probably my powerhouse. It's not my main, that's my Necro, but if I ever need to just push through something, or if I'm not sure how hard something's going to be, this is the character I bring. Warrior's just in a wonderful place. I do need to tinker with this build a little. Anybody who knows notices I actually have two banners set up, and I know they did a banner thing recently, which pulls that down substantially. But Warrior is still just such a great class, especially the setup I have. So right now I'm set up as a Berserker. The other build I have for the Warrior is the Counter Attacker, which is really, really good for certain specific types of encounters, or WVW. What's a counterattack, you ask? Well, it's real simple. I go into a counterattack. I generate rage, and then I go into a counterattack stance. And the moment someone hits me, I beat the ever-living snot out of them. Anyways. So yes, Warrior. This is my Machinist. I have played this the least. In fact, I'm still learning this class, to be totally honest with you. So that will be kind of an experience that we'll share together as I kind of level this guy and push through him. This is my male Charr, obviously. And this is, you can see the difference there. Engineer, machinist, whatever. Tinkerer. What do you want from me? Oh, and this is my so-called main. This is my Necro. I don't have much to add to that. This is what my Necro looks like. But right now, we're going to make a new character. So, we're going to do a little bit of like the starter experience on each character, okay? And we're just going to play around a little bit with how new character creation works, our character creation options, and the starter experience for each of the races, excuse me. Well, it's actually funny you say that, Leonard. While minion build is actually pretty mean, I'm actually a Reaper. I'll show you. I can actually show you really quick. Hang on. Because this will only take me a second. There it is. You also notice my Necro is the character named Lore Runner. That's how you can tell it's my main. Oh my god, missed luck. I need to move to Gandharan. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Continue to wait for some reason. Okay. Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, I pulled it out. I pulled out the mistlock thing out of the shared. Anyways, oh, I should leave group because I'm still in the party from earlier. Anyways. Right, this is my temporary greatsword. You know what? Hang on, I can afford the... Let me show you the greatsword I actually use. Because I actually have this. In fact, it's the greatsword my warrior is using. Whoosh, that's a lighting difference. Look at that. Jesus. This one? Yep, that's the one. So this is the actual greatsword that I am currently using on my warrior. Obviously, this is a transmog of it, but I actually have this real greatsword is the point. This greatsword singularly, like, this is an ascended, and it dropped. It is the only ascended drop I have ever gotten in the entire game. Everything else has been crafted or gotten through the Wizard's Vault. This drop single-handedly inspired me to push this class more, because I got it on my Necro, and to design the whole fire motif, because the burning flame thing is what I've got going on for my Necro. I know Necro's usually green, but come on. Look at that. Look at that. But I told Lunarith I'd show off exactly what a Reaper is. So obviously I have a bunch of really fun and cool abilities. I've got a nice big schwunk. I've got a combo completer. I've got a nice AoE circle thing, which I can actually create for my own combos. I've got a yank there. I've got a whole bunch of other fun stuff I can use here. But all of this is mostly bonus points. The real thing is this. I can go into Reaper mode. And when I'm in Reaper mode, I've got a lunge, a counter-strike, this ridiculous whirlwind of death, and a giant hit. Now, Reaper mode is awesome. So here's all of the ways that Reaper mode is awesome, in very, very brief. Yeah, first of all, you're always quick. You always have the quickness buff. Second of all, it looks extremely cool. Third of all, you get a second health bar. It's why the Reaper is so tanky. Is because while I only have 3,000 health here, I've got another 3,000 health out of the Reaper mode. Now, while you're in Reaper mode, your health, your Reaper bar, slowly generates. Any damage you take hits the Reaper bar. That's why it's a second health bar. There are things that raise that, but the primary thing that raises that is any death. So anything that dies around you raises the Reaper bar. See? That was weird, but okay. In other words, under the right circumstances, especially in a proper group, you can just stay in Reaper mode, especially if you're not taking hits. And again, because it's another health bar, that can also serve as a way to live. The final way that Reaper mode is so awesome is that it's granular. See how I can just pop in and out of that? Just like that. I might tap him and die. In other words, it's not like a lot of games, single player and MMO both, will do this thing where you pop your cooldown and that's it. In 2 minutes, you can try the cooldown again. With Reaper mode, you just... I think it's got like a 10-second cooldown when you pop out of it, but that's it, right? So you just have access to it as a like a stance, essentially. Awesome. Definite recommend. Yeah, very similar, Shrike. Yeah, yeah. I just said that, Colgrim. Proof that Colgrim isn't listening to me. Anyways, I just wanted to answer Lenareth because I'm actually pretty much the exact opposite of a minion master. I am a straight up tank on my Necro. But, new character. Okay, we got this. Mesmer is awesome. Funnily enough, my Mesmer is also set up as a tank. A ranged tank, but a tank nonetheless. But yeah, Necro, if you're playing this game for the very, very first time and you want to see if you like it, Necro is a great class to start as. In fact, it is probably the class to start as, because Necro can be whatever. You can have a good healer Necro, you can have a minion master Necro, you can have a ranged Necro, you can have a conditioned Necro, you can have a tank Necro. Yeah, me too, Colbert. Necro is solid. I highly recommend it. So, let's start off by showing off... let's do the Asura first. They have the least to do with anything, right? These alchemagical inventors may be short in stature, but they're intellectual giants. Among the Asura, it's not the strong who survive, but the clever. Other races believe they should rule by virtue of power and strength, but they're deluding themselves. In time, all will serve the Asura. Sorry, should have said that right. In due time, all will serve the Asura. There we go. Much better. Good afternoon, Walker. Male or female? We'll make male because I don't have a male. So here's your base classes. I just mentioned these very briefly. Here's what these classes mean. Nothing. Go with whatever looks good. With the build system and the way the game is designed at this point in time, whatever style of play you want to do, you can do in pretty much any class. As I already said, Necro is a great place to start. Right over here. But it doesn't matter. Pick something that you think is awesome. Oh yeah, sorry, that's actually a good point. Revenant actually requires Heart of Thorns. I actually forgot about that. And some of the specific builds require expansions. Shrug. So, Elementalist, Mesmer, Necro, Ranger, Thief, Engineer, Guardian, Warrior. We'll do Ranger for this character. It also says a little bit of a tidbit on the bottom there as to what they're good at. So, okay. Let's talk about character creation. Kind of sucks, if I'm being honest. Similar to some other games I can mention, World of Warcraft, most of the customization is more on your gear, your cosmetics, your skins, your dyes, your mounts, right? This, not so much. It varies a little bit, but let's just say that there's a reason both my Asura look exactly the same, and it's not just because of the fact that I wasn't sure which I was going to do. So it'll be, hello? Can I... Okay, so that's apparently as short as I can get. You can kind of change your physique. And I really mean kinda. Like, there's nothing much here. You can change the skin markings. So that's about it. We can also change our skin color. Somewhere. There we go. Sorry, Lenareth, sorry. You can change, like, a couple of weird, like... I don't know. This is the hippie. God, I don't know. What would make you play Guild Wars 2 instead of WoW? Because honestly, and I'm going to be real about this, you should play both. Like, Guild Wars 2 and WoW are very different animals, similar to how FF14 and WoW are very different animals. Jesus Christ. That startled the crap out of me. I thought that was the cat for a second. Note to self, never make a ranger again. We'll go through the bitten ears here. World vs. World is definitely unique. If you're into PvP, yeah, I would say Guild Wars 2 probably has a stronger PvP environment. 100%. Yeah, there's not much here. You make the head a little bit smaller. There we go. You can also set your initial dye colors. This doesn't matter. None of this matters. So, here's the stuff that basically doesn't matter anymore. In fact, this was something they touted as a primary back-of-the-box feature. It didn't survive past vanilla. With good reason, I might add. So you choose your initial pet. So each class and each race chooses some initial stuff here. So we have we'll go with the Drake. We overcome stuff with dignity. Yes. And we are synergetics, dynamics, or statics. It doesn't matter. It changes your backstory. Get it? And it comes up twice. Like, total, ever. Don't get too stuck in the mud on this. Just pick whatever. It really does not change much. And my first invention was a golem, an infinity ball, or a transatmospheric converter. I think we'll go with golem. I like golems. My first advisor was Bronk, Zynga, Blip, or Canny. We'll go with Blip. My name is Mr. Red Dead. There we go. Perfect.
I am Asura. I personify genius. My ancestors were driven from the heart of the earth, forced to live in this bright, wide world.
They're dwarves.
We've excelled. We exceed expectations in everything we do. With Golem and Gate and Arcane Crystal, we have asserted our supremacy in this land and made it our own. We will not move another inch. Not for dragons, not for anyone. By studying the eternal alchemy, we learn to see the world as a concrete framework. I believe that a steadfast structure requires a firm foundation. I belong to the College of Statics.
Oh, it was referenced once!
I surround myself with individuals I respect, and who respect me. Collaboration induces excellence. The crews of my college are builders, planners, creators. I've just been informed that defective golems, not mine of course, are causing havoc out in the jungle.
Oh no, it's Inquest. The dumbest faction in the game.
Whatever the imbeciles outside the city have broken, I'll fix, and make my name doing so.
Seriously, Inquest is just...
I will construct the edifice of a better world. A world devoid of chaos and destruction. This is my story.
Yeah, all the vanilla anti-factions are stupid. Let's see, we've got the flame guys of the Charr. I can't remember what they're called. The separatists for the humans. The Inquest for the Asura. The Twilight Court, we're actually about to fight those in the dungeons, for the Sylvari. Flame Legion, that's them. And then the Jormites or whatever, the followers of Jormak. Sons of something, I don't know. The Ice Jackasses for the Norn. And they all suck. All of them suck. Sons of Sylvari, that's it. So, for all intents and purposes, it is Ulverzar. There will be another Dark, obviously, because this is a temporary place, so I will have to move again at some point in time. So at that point, there will be another Dark of undetermined length. Theoretically shorter, though. Because theoretically, the next time I move, it'll be moving to a house. So there will be the drive, there will be unpacking, and then I'll be good to go. Okay, so... Let's see how a new player experience feels. So we start off with one ability, okay, which is a shot. What do we got on? What do we got on us? We have basic stuff and a longbow. Okay. And so we start off with a heal and a basic attack.
This is what comes from sloppy craftsmanship.
There's a catastrophic glitch in the Golem control system. In brief, they've all gone completely loopy. Find Peacemaker Gezi, she'll get to the bottom of this. Peacemakers, they're no help. Sure they are. Well, some of them are. Okay, a few are. But Gezi's one of the good ones. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Interesting. I can't mount. Probably because I'm in an instance. Ah, vanilla cutscenes.
It's pure chaos out here. Unacceptable. What's going on?
Just what it looks like. These golems have gone mad. Zojja suspects someone tampered with them. And by someone, she means the inquest.
Zojja's rarely wrong. Don't tell her I said rarely, by the way. If it is the inquest, she's going to need help. Where can I find her?
At the malfunctioning gate that's spitting out these deranged golems. She claims she could feel them on the other side of the gate laughing at us.
Not for long. I'm going to help Zojja shut down the problem at its source. Thanks for the information.
Hang on, let's go name Mr. Red here. I don't actually know how to do that.
Panic. This is just a temporary setback. What's all this then?
I don't actually know how to name our pet, so we'll call our pet Senior Red. Someone already mentioned this in chat. So the player character is voiced. That's actually somewhat problematic. No, Papanix, you misunderstood. There are 10 voice actors for the main character. So 5 races, 2 genders. So each of those has their own voice actor and actress. It's actually the reason why we have never had new races in this game, is because that would involve an absolutely insane additional amount of voice acting, even to add just one new race. Even if that one race only had one gender, so one new voice actor, that would still be a colossal amount of work. So we've been stuck with the same races for the last 13 years at this point. Yeah, we talk constantly. This is a nearly fully voiced game. Hello, Zojja. Speaking of, how do we get through the gate? I'm working on it, Aggie Pants. They've mucked the mechanism, so it's only flowing one way. Buy me some time. Okay. I go through the portal. Oh, I can't. Okay, fine, whatever. I'll just chill here for a minute, wait for the event to start.
I bet anything the Inquest are behind this. Villainous chicanery. It's what they do.
It's true. Oh no, the main character has a full personality. You don't really get to decide anything. Weirdly enough, I'm fully in favor of that.
Reversed. The gate works both ways again. Mr. Sparkles, to me. Let's pay a visit to whomever decided to complicate my day so we can ruin theirs.
Look! Snaff's footnote has joined our little party. And she brought friends.
Teo? Oh, for a second there I thought someone dangerous was behind this.
Oh, spare my tender feelings. It's true. I'm not dangerous. But these golems are. Here, let them show you what dangerous really means.
And dead. Don't have much of a class at the start.
When will you clubs learn? Don't mess with the inquest.
Yeah, you guys are gonna lose thousands of people before I finally stop killing you. Like, I almost get bored of killing them, you know? Yes, Felicia Day voices Zojja.
Did that scramble your
I've
brain?
invited another guest to our victory party.
So, for some reason,
Looks like the guest of honor has arrived. Let's take it down.
All of the starter sequences involve suddenly and randomly fighting some giant super death boss. This is extremely Korean MMO, by the way. This is actually one of the most common hallmarks of a Korean MMO. Is the first major encounter you have is against something that's way, way above your pay grade.
You're looking a little wobbly, Peter. Did that scramble your brainwaves?
Now, you can't tell because I'm here by myself. Oh, no, I think there is one other player right there. Excuse me. There is actually another player.
Just die already, won't you?
But when this game launched, there were usually like 20, 30 people all fighting this thing.
Dirtier golems in my sleep.
But as you can see, there's not much to this guy.
Scratch one cube is gone.
Fine. We'll be back. Let's see how you like it.
They scale with how many players are fighting them, Giga. Pretty sure. Yeah, their telegraphing is just whatever. So that was the intro. I hope you enjoyed that for its scintillating quality.
Hey, it's you again. I see you survived with your epidermis intact.
Of course. It takes more than a giant rampaging inquest golem to get the better of me.
Oh my god.
Modest, too. Well, you've earned a dash of praise, if you ask me. The crews around the city would kill for the assistance of an inventor with your talents. You should ask around. Make yourself invaluable.
Not a bad idea. Thanks.
So, there's this new thing called the Character Adventure Guide. Now, this is new to me. I've only poked at this briefly. So, when you level, it's like, hey, look, you've unlocked things. You gain access to the hero panel. Just stat increases, and you get a second skill. Oh my god. This is what you'll get when you hit level 5, then 6, and then 10, and then 11. At level 10, we get to continue the MSQ. Isn't that amazing? Wow. I can't wait to continue to level 10. Hey, Mr. Red. Mr. Red. Listen, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Go serve Garrosh for me, would you? Thanks. Alright, anyways. So, Sylvari. I'm just gonna... So, Sylvari have some cool options. I guess I'll show off some of these. Somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Mostly, the thing I like most about the Sylvari is the hair. Some of it looks weird, like this. This is bark, essentially. But, oh my god, note to self, never make a Sylvari. We've got the mushroom hair. We've got the leaves. You've seen the one I used. Bark and leaves. There's like vines, you know. It's like fawns. Yeah, originally the Sylvari were straight up elves. They have been changed from that. The Sylvari are an extremely young race. How young? We helped grow them in Guild Wars 1. They are less than 200 years old as a species. Yeah, their hair glows in the dark, too. And you can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. There's a lot of hair colors for Sylvari. Sylvari are very cool. So, we gotta have a different blindfold. There we go. Let's get the edgiest blindfold possible. Will be ferocity here. There we go. We follow the moon. Yes, yes. And we believe in the teachings of kill everything. The pale tree awakened me during night, the black of night. My name is Garrosh. Is amazing. There we go. Okay.
I am Sylvari. 25 years ago, my people first appeared in Tyria. The pale tree flowered, and the firstborn awakened. The dream contains my race's memories. We gain awareness here, and then awaken into the world. The dream fills me with knowledge, and is my connection to others. It is my inspiration, my guiding light. While here, I have discovered my purpose, to face evil and destroy it. Even now, I sense my destiny calling me to awaken. My time is soon. Nature and goodness are under siege. All life hangs in the balance. If Tyria is to survive, it will need us. If we fail, the dream will be consumed by nightmare, and Tyria will wither and die.
Notice specific reference to undead, which is our main villain for the first vanilla MSQ.
I dream of secrets. The voices of my people whisper to me of spiderwebs and hidden knives. I see the symbol of a crescent moon on the curve of a shield. It is a symbol of wisdom. The dream hints at my future. I glimpse the faces of those whose secrets I will shelter, and who in turn guard mine. I will uncover truth and fight the nightmare that festers in wicked hearts.
That's funny, I was just jotting down that positive, Giga.
Of my awakening, I feel the earth singing in my bones. And yet I sense darkness approaching. Something intrudes upon the dream. It blocks the path to my awakening. Before I can enter the world, I must first face this evil and vanquish it. I am summoned by the dream. This is my story.
Well, you see, NCSoft published this game, Mr. Red. And that should answer your question. Alright, here we go. Behold, I am Garrosh. So, yeah, I agree with Cyber Exile. Guild Wars 2's playable races are actually really unique, except for the humans and Norns, which are both whatever. Yeah, check it out, Ventari. I'm thinking, who the hell's this? This guy's from Guild Wars 1. He's a centaur who actually... He was like the only peaceful centaur. He was in fact a pacifist centaur. And he helped grow the very first seeds, along with us, back in Guild Wars 1 to bloom the Sylvari. So, technically what you should see is him, and then us, our previous player characters, like right there, right next to him. Anyways. So... Here's the weird thing about Tyria, which the world this setting is in. There are hundreds of races in this setting. Honestly, to the point where it sort of blurs for me. Like, I know this is like a really strange complaint, but there's almost too many races in Guild Wars 2. Like, there's the Quaggan, and then I can't even list them all. I don't even know how to list them all. There's too many. Hang on, is there like a list of races? Hang on, give me a sec. Let's see. Is there like a full list of all the races? No, I don't want playables. I want all the races. Looks like there isn't a list of all the races. That makes sense, because there are so many of them. Oh no. It puts WoW to shame, Lord Paramount. It's kind of hard to even put into words. As you roam, as we go through this game, you'll see what I mean, as we just encounter race after race after race after race. We're still encountering. We keep encountering the races. They're all sentient. They're all fully cognizant. There's just so many of them. And there's also race variants, like the Norn, which are a variant of humans. Humans are one of the few races we can point to and say, this is where they came from. The gods created us. They were like, hey, humans! And they based them on themselves, because of course they did. There's more lore to that, but I'm kind of skipping over that for the moment. So let's just leave that as is. Oh my god, I see visions of lion guards fighting Orions. I don't even know what Orions are. Yeah, humans are actually the aliens of the setting. Dragons are one of the most original races, we'll say. Hello, Keith. Uh-oh.
The world is for exploring. Dreamer, I am Keith. I need your help. Can you hear me where you are within the dream?
Within the dream? What does that mean? Why do you look transparent?
I am Interior, a land far away. Soon you'll awaken here, but for now you live in the dream. I can't explain right now. We must hurry. Something is poisoning the dream.
Poisoning the dream? Of course, I will do whatever I can to help you. Why me?
Your spirit is strong. Do not underestimate yourself. Head to the far embankment, and I'll meet you there.
I mean, my main is a Sylvari, Pavanix. But I would say Sylvari and Charr are basically tied for my mains. Then again, I like Sylvari, Charr, and Asura more or less equally, so I guess all three of them. Hello, Evo. Welcome back, Bragman. Oh yeah, Kaith. Sorry. Kaith over there, she's a little contentious. Not as bad as Bram, but I don't want to bear the lead on that.
This way. Those hounds are an aspect of the poison. The foe must be close now.
Yeah, we'll talk about Kabram later.
Looks grim, but you must press on. Our future is in your hands.
Thank you, Evo.
Looks grim, but you must press on. Our future is in your hands.
Kate's gone to fight the Nightmare Beast. I'm sure she could use you there.
I mean, nothing's going to compare to Diablo 3, Papanix, not on the gameplay axis. But Necro is probably the most fun class in this game. I highly recommend it as a first class, as I said just 20 minutes ago.
Destroy the nightmare before it takes root.
So, once again, we have to fight a giant super boss as part of the tutorial. Again, very Korean MMO. So, we previously fought a giant mecha golem death thing. Now we're fighting a Mordramoth dragon. Ah, I see my packages have arrived. Thank you.
There. The poison is taken.
I will have to set that up soon. What? Right after I don't die to the shadow of the dragon. Well, actually, this thing's a little bit more complicated than it looks like for what this is. We'll actually be fighting this guy again later. So don't forget to remind me. It is pretty warm in here, yeah. There's nothing for it, you know? There's nothing for it. Don't forget to remind me to bring this up when we fight this guy again. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have a lot going for us.
Destroy the nightmare before it takes root.
Like, we have a 1 key, and that's it. These used to also be more involved. Just a little bit. I actually went really alt-happy with this game when it first came out, because I was just trying all the classes out. They all sucked. I mean... I think I'm alone this time? Nope, there is another player there. Once again, I have one other player doing this with me.
It is finished. The dream is safe in this place. Search it again.
Whew, man. Yeah, that's how I wake up every day, is killing a giant death dragon. Sorry, wood dragon.
Where am I? I was fighting a great evil. Are we safe? Kaith! Where is Kaith?
Steady, sapling. You just woke. You were calling out in your dream. Kaith was just here, but she had to go speak to the Pale Tree.
She and I fought side by side against the poison in the dream. I saw the shadow of a terrible dragon, and I felt the dream call upon me to defeat it.
By the tree. A wild hunt so soon, and such a momentous task. To be a valiant of the wild hunt is a difficult charge. Bear this calling with pride.
I will. But how do I begin? One does not simply awaken and rush off to face a dragon.
You start here in our forest. There were others hurt in the dream. They could use your help. Besides, it'll be fine training for a new valiant.
Oh, absolutely, Mr. Red. It is literally, this is not a joke, this is not hyperbole, it is a hallmark of the Korean MMO format.
I'd like to talk to you.
You get to wait. that you make a brand new character and you walk out and suddenly the evil, endless death lich of darkness approaches, and you're like a level 1 nobody, and you're like, I've got a box of Kleenex. Whap, whap, whap. Ah, you have defeated me, for you are the greatest of all the chosen ones. And then they're like, oh my god, how did you do that? You must be so amazing. And then they'd send you to go do some random bullcrap, and you do the usual thing. But I'm not actually joking. If you look into it, it is, yeah, no, they're trying to hook you. They're failing miserably, but that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to hook you by doing the most bog-standard Chosen One story in the history of the universe. I hate it. I hate the format, and Guild Wars 2 is no exception to that. However, while I dislike it and will absolutely... Hi, Bregman. I love the feathers. That's really cool. Check it out. Here's Bregman. While I dislike it and I will give negative support, I actually like the Sylvari intro better than the Asura one. I bet most of you can't even recite what happened in the Asura intro for me right now. Because nothing... Inquest are doing things...
Maybe to the east?
Expedition aid. Normally I'm in, but that's right into the undead.
That's really it. By contrast, the Sylvari one... Yes, you must serve Garrosh. The Sylvari one, nice little callback. We have Kintari and the Centaur. We walk around the dream. There's a little bit of exploration you can do. And there's Orients fighting Lions Guards. We don't know what either of those things are, but that actually makes perfect sense. There's a logic to it. And it's actually really good foreshadowing. The next thing we do is we encounter how there's this strange, influential force that's just kind of invading the dream. This is actually a two-step in thing. This is a two-step foreshadowing. I was wondering when that storm was going to show up. Because on the one hand, it foreshadows the vanilla faction of the Twilight, whatever they're called, Twilight Court. But on the other hand, it's a foreshadowing for Heart of Thorns. So they take that, it's some really good early bricklaying, and unlike the Assurance, it actually hooks you a little bit. It's like, okay, why are we in the dream? Who is Kaith? What's the nightmare? What's invading? What's an Orien? Right? And yes, my eyes are thorny. Behold. I think it looked the most Garrosh. Anyways, so I'm actually going to give a positive to the Sylvari intro. I think that's pretty solid. It's one of the reasons the Sylvari stuck with me. Holy crap. But you know, Mr. Red, I know you say Garrosh is amazing. I derive entirely too much enjoyment from just deleting Mr. Red from existence. Behold! No, I agree. The Sylvari are actually very much main characters. Legitimately. Let me explain that a little bit. What makes Luke Skywalker the main character of the original Star Wars trilogy? Now, there's actually several answers to this question, but there's a specific answer I'm looking for. And that answer is that he is directly connected to the villains. He has a direct personal connection to Vader, and as a direct consequence of his connection to Vader, he is directly connected to Palpatine, right? So, NC Soft argues here. So, Luke, yeah, exactly. The villains and him have such a personal, intimate, and character-relevant connection that the plot kind of comes to Luke constantly throughout the course of the original trilogy, right? Sylvari are the same way. I'm not going to spoil all the specifics, but the Sylvari are the same way. They have a direct connection to one of the main villains that nobody else has. The humans are just here. They're just doing whatever. The Norn kind of do with Jormag, but that doesn't show up for forever. And frankly, it's kind of like a blink and you'll miss it thing. I'm being exaggerative. But, like, the Mordremoth thing is this huge deal, whereas the Jormag thing is, okay. We'll get to why that is later. There's reasons for it. The Charr? What do the Charr have to do with anything? Cool. And that leaves the Assurans, who are there. The only ones with actual direct connection to the plot are Sylvari. So I agree with that. By the way, as a fresh reminder, My Sylvari is my main. Anyways. Oh, that hurt. I guess we'll do Humies. Actually, yeah, absolutely, Mr. Red. Hi, Loke. I got your sub earlier. Thank you for it. I've already jotted it down. Let's go ahead and make our Humie, like a male Humie. Let's see, Mr. Red. What should we... Let's be an Elemental. No, we can't be an Elemental. Let's be a Mesmer. Yeah, there we go. So, human appearances options are, well, they're... I don't say they're bad. They're boring. They're pretty boring. Moving on. Let's see. We choose Harlequin, Phantasm of Sorrow, or the Fangs of Dread. Knowing Mr. Red, it's probably Dread. Mr. Dread. That's going to be your name here. Dignity, of course. Mr. Dread is very dignified. Let's say you were raised in the streets. Mesmer is an illusionist, put simply. Let's see. Your biggest regret is you never searched for your parents. You never recovered your sister's body, or, this is of course the correct answer, you passed up an opportunity to perform in the circus. Fun fact, when Guild Wars 2 launched, this was the most picked option by far. Probably because it's the only one that doesn't fit. So everyone was drawn to the circus immediately. I'm not joking. Like, you know, oh, my parents. Oh, the centaurs killed my sister. Circus? See, you'll be blessed by Lissa. That just makes sense. All right, let's see, Mr. Dread. There we go. Mr. Dread Hellscream. There we go. Perfect.
The human race once ruled Tyria. Now, we struggle to hold our ground.
We were present for that incident in Guild Wars 1.
We've been defeated, driven back, broken. But we will not surrender. So many nations have fallen. Only Kryta still stands.
Cantha, hello.
Faith is strong despite the silence of the six gods. With courage, we'll make our stand in Divinity's reach. The city is my home. I grew up on the streets. Although I have friends, my life has always been hard. I've faced the worst this city could throw at me, and I sent it home bleeding. I'm done living hand to mouth. There's a war on our doorstep, and I refuse to be buried by it. Today I stepped outside Divinity's reach, hoping to find better luck outside the city. Problem is, when I arrived in Shaymore, the village was under attack by centaurs. Innocent villagers are in danger. Someone has to help. I can take care of myself, but that's not enough anymore. Someone has to help those who can't. This is my story.
Does you really, Bobanix? That's funny. And yes, that's obviously Nolan North. No, it's 100% a voice direction shoe. Vanilla just didn't have a lot of voice direction, as we already mentioned. Okay, so Mesmer. Yeah, obviously we're not a time mage yet.
Everybody get to the end. We can protect you at the end.
I've done this so many times because I made a whole bunch of humans when I was trying out all the classes back in the day. So yes, you're probably expecting us to fight the Separatists because they're the evil human faction. Remember, the Sylvari fought evil Sylvari, and the Asurans fought the evil Asurans, the Inquest. But here we fight the Centaurs. Enjoy this because the Centaurs are going to stop being relevant the moment we leave Vanilla. You think that's bad? How many of you even remember that ogres exist in this game? There are multiple zones dedicated to the ogre story arc. And it boils down to, oh no, it's the ogres. Okay, we beat them. I'm just going to summarize that for you. Alright, come on, Mr. Dread. Let's do this. Joking aside, I actually completely spaced that ogres exist in this game until I was finishing up my map completion on my thief, and a whole bunch of the zone quests were ogre related. I was like, oh. Huh. Okay. Who are these?
Sergeant, there are more centaurs on the other side of town. Captain Thackeray's calling for reinforcements at the garrison.
If he's calling for help, it must be serious. But I can't spare anyone.
I'll go. Captain Thackeray's never failed Divinity's reach. If I can help him, I will.
Balthazar, bless you. That's the spirit that'll win this war. Good luck.
Oh, also, it really was Cyrexel. Someone mentioned, I think it was Riker's mentioned earlier, this isn't a Korean MMO. Yes, it is. Let's just get this clear. It's not because of NCSoft. It's not because of the fact that NCSoft is a Korean company. It's the fact that it is designed like a Korean MMO. Expedition 33 is a JRPG, despite the fact that it was made in France. It's a genre. Doesn't matter. What have we got? Oh, the vanilla cutscene style sucks. I was so glad they moved past it. Again, at first glance, like, me and Pax were looking at it. This was a couple years ago. And we're trying to figure out what it was about it that we hated. And I already told you what it is. Say something, say something. Pause. Say something, say something. Pause. Say something, say something, say. Pause. Say something, say. There's this really... No, the cutscenes change the moment we leave vanilla. There's this really awful tempo and pacing problem with the cutscenes. And that's ignoring the fact that there's no dynamicness to them at all, because they're all just two people staring at each other while there's a background, right? Alright, Mr. Red. Mr. Dread, excuse me. Okay, so let's go fight the evil centaurs, who are such a big villain that they totally matter. Wink. The centaurs are threatening the capital of the human nation. That's how powerful they are.
Here they come! More centaurs on the bridge.
Ah, it's okay. Hope you're having a good day, Luke. There we go. There's the power duo right there.
Get ready. There's another wave coming.
They're backing off! Keep pushing!
Look, I'm just saying, every MMO's vanilla sucks, except for WoW's, obviously. WoW's vanilla is perfect in every way, with no flaws whatsoever.
Enough of this.
Take down their leader!
You pitiful cubes. You think you can defeat me?
Actually, no. Jokes aside, WoW vanilla is probably the least bad of the vanillas. Legitimately.
What is that thing? It's huge!
Oh gosh. Structure and approach to storytelling style and division of content. The aforementioned licking the player's butt is certainly a big thing.
Take out those giant heads, and the whole thing will come crashing down!
Heavy emphasis on lack of visual continuity in terms of both gear progression and cosmetics. Everything. There's just everything about this shop and how it operates.
Rally to me if you need to recover.
So everything, in other words. Literally everything about this game is, it just screams Korean MMO. Now, it's a really good one. It is probably the best one out there. Because unlike most Korean MMOs, there's actually some quality on display here. And no, I'm not taking that statement back. Most Korean MMOs are garbage. Because most Korean MMOs are built by a team of 10 people and thrown out in the space of about a year in order to try and capitalize on as many players as they can who are just looking for any new thing. And the moment they find a new thing, they play it for a month, give up on it and leave, and then the Korean MMO dies just like every other one has.
It's not dead yet! Brace yourselves! I think it's gonna explode!
There's hundreds of Korean MMOs. Or I guess I should say there have been. Might be a better way to phrase that. A lot of them are dead.
Where am I? What happened?
You were injured when the elemental exploded. Captain Thackeray brought you here personally. You've been unconscious for 3 days. You had lots of visitors. Villagers you rescued, some seraph, and a nervous, shady-looking character who came by every day, but wouldn't give his name.
That'd be my friend Quinn. You might want to check your supply cabinets. I'll find out what he wanted once I'm fully recovered. What should I do now?
Fresh air and exercise are the best medicine. The goddess Dwayna helped you. Perhaps you could help others?
Thanks, I will. And thanks for taking such good care of me.
Bless you. You'll find plenty to do out in the valley. May Dwayna protect you.
That was the human intro. Pretty goddamn boring. I would actually go so far as to say I think that's worse than the Asura intro. At least the Asura intro involves the Inquest, who are a relevant, character. Like, they're a relevant faction within the overall lore of the setting. And will be relevant several days forward. The Centaurs, who summon a giant elemental to attack the capital city of the human nation. Yeah, there's nothing here. There's no hook. There's no meat. It doesn't make sense. It's just generic. Extremely generic. And that's the problem. All right, Mr. Dread. I've been having a thought. How would you feel about serving Hellscream? Who's your father, obviously. Listen, Mr. Red, look, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be a shh. Okay. It's okay, there's no more pain. No more pain where you are. Alright. So. Speaking of, so we still have to show off Charr. And then we've got one left. We'll do male for this one. Oh my god, Charr casters just look... Oh, they just look at them. Just, oh wow. There we go, that's a Charr right there. I need you guys to help me with something. I'm actually suffering from a bit of dehydration lately. Health issues, allergies, and 4 weeks of going full tilt and nearly killing myself to move. So, every hour I need to make it a point to go and get some water, okay? I'm gonna go make some water. I'll be right back. You know, I should totally do. Guess I should, like, run an ad break every time I do that. Yes, I needed to make water. I don't know why I said it that way. Anyways. Alright. So, Charr. Who are the Charr? They're complicated. We'll learn a whole lot more about them as we go through. And that's all I'm going to say about that right now. Let's be super tall. Yes. Super buff. Not very many body types, actually. Let's see. We have a helmet. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, we are sexy. Oh, no, we're even sexier now. Oh, yes. No. Oh, yeah. That's it. That's the look. Behold. Might, obviously. Let's see. We could be blood, ash, or iron. Obviously, iron is the only objectively correct choice. Hi, TSP. Let's... Oh, hey, I recognize all of these people. We'll pick Riva. We shall be a loyal soldier. Yes, we are. Mr. Charred. No, it needs to be 2 R's. There we go. Mr. Charred. Let's do it.
I am a Charr. In this world of constant battle, I am the deadliest weapon of all. I respect no authority but the clenched fist of my legion. With engines of destruction, we have killed our gods. We reclaimed our homeland of Ascalon, and we planted victory banners on the graves of our enemies. Yet, if we waver, it could slip through our claws. Victory, at any cost. The Iron Legion's war cry can be heard in the churning of gears and the roaring of siege engines. I serve the Iron Legion. I build the future. I forge the weapons of Charr supremacy. I've earned the respect of my comrades and forged alliances I can call on in times of need. My Legion values innovative solutions, efficient execution. Like our steel, we do not bend. Centuries ago, humans stole Ascalon from the Iron Legion. They have paid for that crime in blood, but the usurpers fight us even in death. Today, the combined armies of the Black Citadel will assault the ghosts that plague Iron Legion territory. I've been assigned to reinforce the bulwark. Let the Ash Legion strike from the shadows. Let the Blood Legion die on the field. I am part of the machine. This is my story.
And then Xanarkin. 2 Xanarkin start playing. So, the Charr were the bad guys back in Guild Wars 1. Now, there was a little, tiny bit more nuance than that. But really, they were primarily just the bad guys, the opponents. Now, when we scooched a little bit forward to Gwen, which was the final expansion, they started showing a few more layers to that and started developing them a little bit as a culture. I'm not going to go fully in-depth on that, but it turns out that there was an entire legion of people who was misleading them and making them worship false gods, which led to the Titans invading Tyrion. It's a whole thing. Point being, I bring all this up because I've always felt that a lot of the initial vanilla stuff for the Charr is very much designed, like the vanilla stuff for the Forsaken. In other words, we're the bad guys. I use that comparison specifically because, like the Forsaken, the Charr haven't been the bad guys since forever, right? As they develop it more, as they become more and more positively inclined, they stop being an antagonistic force. Alright, let's go fight these Ascalonian scum.
Hey, over here.
This is your lucky day. You get to
All retcons, Wrecker Spirit. Not that I'm saying I disagree, I'm just saying nothing you say contradicts anything I just said. And yeah, Klingons is a good comparison. I'm pretty sure they were directly inspired by the Klingons. If they weren't, then they're lying.
I need your help, soldier. Tribune Brimstone has ordered me to the crypt, but I'm too torn up to make it. What's so important that the Blood Legion Tribune is there? Ghost of Duberity is far more powerful than we thought. His army just broke through our defenses. Ritlock's about to fight him head-on. If he succeeds, it'll be weeks before the Ghost reforms, and we can rebuild our perimeter. On my way.
Oh, I do too, Wrecker Spirit. Yeah, sorry, for those of you who don't know, humans are quite literally aliens to this setting. And they're not the only ones. We'll talk about the Mersat later, though. Sorry. Wait, what? We'll talk more about that later, but all I'll say right now is it has to do with the human gods, the Ascalonian gods. I forget what they actually call them. Who, if you're paying attention during the human intro, have kind of gone mysteriously quiet. And yes, that is a plot point, which is why I'm emphasizing it. I've been seeing the T-posing bug a lot more lately. Did you see it just now?
Steelbane, like Smooth's missing eye. The battle's in the crypt. Open that gate, or I'll be holding your head. Now! Ritlock needs reinforcements.
Agreed, Wrecker's Beard. Tyria is fascinating.
You go on. I'll be right behind you.
I will fail to cover all the lore of this game because there is so much to it. I'm going to do my best. I've been double-checking stuff, taking notes, all kinds of things like that, to try and fact-check myself as I go. But there's a lot, and it's kind of all over the place. And they like to change their minds about things.
So hard it'll take him weeks to reappear. Move out.
Yes, that's right. For the second time in a row, we're with Ritlock fighting a ghost of Ascalon. So this is something I've actually talked about before. When you do certain events, there's a command that the game will send to allow your camera to zoom out more than usual so you can see more of the fight. This is important because if you played this game, you notice that some of the bosses in this game are absolutely ginormous, and you really need that extra visibility. Like the Morgemoth fight we did earlier.
You will not be defeated! I will destroy you all!
I would say that the story of the Charr nation is the story of them learning to figure out how to interact peacefully with other nations, which is actually a pretty interesting story to me. It's not like they don't want to, it's just that the Charr have so much cultural and historical baggage that it's difficult for them. Unlike, say, the Asurans, the Sylvari, the Norns, and the humans are all just like, yeah, let's just work together. Cool, done. The Charr are like, because they're Charr.
Heroes now, boys and girls. Congratulations. Report back to Smokestead.
I heard what you did down in that crypt, soldier. Impressive.
Tribune Brimstone was calling the shots. I just did my job.
Don't sell yourself short. You were part of the team that took down Baradin and stopped the ghost assault. Smokestead is safe now, and
This
you
voice
helped
acting.
make it that way. People are still on edge, though. It'd help if they saw someone like you making the rounds, lending a hand. The quicker we get this place squared away, the sooner the legions can get back to business. You can help. I'd rather have volunteers. But if I have to issue an order, I will.
That won't be necessary, Legionnaire. I hereby volunteer.
Notice the distinction there, by the way. Even in the Charr intro. So the Charr intro, I don't think it's as good as the Sylvari one. There's not as many hooks, right? Like, it's like, okay, so they're fighting the Ghost of Ascalon, which, whatever. And we've got a military upbringing, okay, but that's kind of it. But there's just a flavorful bit of world building in the Charr intro, which puts it above the others. I think it probably is good enough for a neutral, I would say, unlike, say, you know, Human, which was actually bad. But I did want to look up one thing really quick. Sorry, give me a second here, please. So here's a question for chat. Who do you like better as a voice actor? Matt Mercer or Claudia Christian? Also, you notice how, unlike most of the other ones, the Charr one very explicitly makes go help and do random, you know, hearts and quests part of the actual initial, like, quest chain. It's like, hey, go, fix things. Okay. Yeah, do you like Ivanova or do you like Ganondorf? Also, I didn't notice until someone put it on chat that Mr. Charred actually just reads Mr. Charred. It's just... Anyways. Goodbye. So, hang on, we've got... Claudia, Matt Mercer, Claudia, Matt Mercer, Claudia. Looks like Claudia wins. Elementalist. Oh my god. By the way, I hope you like boobs, because this game does. Alright, we want to be as tall as possible, as usual. Let's see, what do we got here? We'll go with that. Yeah, this character right here is voiced by Claudia Christian. I don't want tattoos. Let's see. Be super pale. Hair? Here we go. Let's see. What do we want? I mean, it doesn't really matter. Oh, no, scars. I like scars. We'll go with that. Let's see. Hair. I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Red. I would never have deleted you from existence yet again. Yeah, Joe DiMaggio's on this one. They had a bit of an A-list cast when they started Vanilla. I mean, they still do. It's just, now they have a voice director. See, I gotta care about hair, because I'm probably gonna play with helmet off and whatever I decide. So far, the one I'm most leaning towards is either this, or that's it. So I guess we'll go with that. Let's see. What color haven't I used? We have a white character, we have a yellow character, we have a red character, we have a violet character, we have a teal character. We don't have black. Just default all this. There we go. That's all going away in seconds anyways. Oh, I'm sorry. Race. All player character races. All player character actors are tied to race and gender. So female Norn, Clara Christian. Male Norn, Matt Mercer. Water, fire, earth, or air. We'll stick with fire. We will do dignity. Let's see, strength, cunning, or intuition. We'll go with intuition for an elementalist. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 kind of made a stomp when it came out. Let's see. At a recent celebratory moot, we either blacked out from hang on, I'll let you read this out loud. Ale, rowdy brawling. It's too easy to let loose in the thrill of the moment. After I woke up, I couldn't remember what I'd done. I'm sure it was nothing too terrible. I've had a rival ever since I was young. He's intelligent, treacherous, and cunning. I lost our last fight, but next time we'll meet, I'll even the score. Or, I inherited Romkey's horn. It's an ancient magical ancestor heirloom passed down through generations. After one too many drinks, however, I wagered it on a contest of strength. And lost. No, we already played Hume. And deleted him. Let's see. Raven, wolf, leopard, or bear. Let's go with Raven. Raven's cool. It's the Norn. So yeah, if you make a Norn female Mesmer and a Norn female Necro, both are voided by Claudia. Yes. To be very, 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 very clear. God, New World, just a disaster. At least Guild Wars 2 is actually a good game. New World was trash. I'm sorry. New World was exactly what you get when you try to throw money at people without knowing what to throw money at, right? Yeah, it's weird. It's a human. I mean, Norn are humans. Norn are humans. Yeah, screw New World. Just. I actually had a character name already built up for this, and of course I can't remember it right now because I'm an idiot. Oh, that's why. It's because I'm an idiot. Right. This character's a ranger. Whoops. Hang on. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, Wrecker's Beard. Tried not to laugh too much at it. There we go. Okay. Oh, I can't pick Raven? Really? Come on. Alright, whatever, Leopard. Dignity. Tuition. Come on. Blacked out, of course. There's Raven. Okay. That's more like it. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be my long-term ranger. See, now I'm changing my mind about the character. Class doesn't... We haven't covered any classes yet, Lady Fairy. So, for all intents and purposes, no. Sorry, Moneros. I hate the sound effects on these character creation screens. Just go with the default. Screw it. So, Norn. Sorry for the delay.
I am Norn, hunter of the wild, born of the free and rugged Shiver Peak Mountains. In the far north, my people fought our greatest enemy, Jormak, a dragon of frost and snow. The dragon broke our pride, but it did not break our spirit. In our last hour, we heard the voices of 4 of the spirits of the wild: Bear, Raven, Snow Leopard, Wolf. They called us south, away from certain annihilation. We founded the Great Lodge of Holbreck and claimed new hunting grounds. Some say we should not fight Jormag. I say the greatest risk is to wager nothing at all. One day, a hero will lead us home, and we will break the dragon's icy grip. Victory, like any prey, must be hunted. I trust my instincts, the voice of my soul, to guide the way. Like my ancestors before me, I seek glory. One day, I will take my place among the heroes of the Norn.
Gildor's one character.
The spirits of the wild whisper their secrets to my heart. I trust in fate and follow where instinct guides me, and it has never led me wrong. I am still untested, but already my deeds have earned me friendship and great respect. Each year, a great hunt is called in Holbrook. Only the best among us are invited to participate. With bravery and a little good fortune, I will collect trophies to prove my worth. Then I will drink and boast of my victories. I accept this challenge. I relish it. Come, danger. Come, adventure. In the lodges and halls of my people, fortune and the spirits will smile upon my legend. This is my story.
And thank you for the sub, Metallica. As always. And if you know what up to 3 things you'd like to put that towards for future streams, please let me know. Okay.
Hey, over here. You don't want to miss a chance for glory. Hail, hero! Are you here to take part in this year's great hunt?
Of course I am. Just tell me what needs to be done and stand clear.
Hunt down the wildest animals you can find and take trophies from your kills. Present only the finest to Ido the Tanner to prove your worth. Whoever has the best trophy and whose bravery is the greatest will be invited to join the great hunt. Newt Whitebear has said this season's event will be one of the most dangerous, so be ready. I've even heard the renowned Erstagolkin might attend.
I look forward to impressing them both, after I've earned my place in the hunt.
Okay, let's see. Need to go get a hunt. And first, let's enjoy some beer. Glug, 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 glug. See you around, Luke. Have a good day at work.
Tomorrow I go on my first hunt.
And I'm gonna have a giant thing of roast, whatever that is. Okay. And some more beer. Glug, glug. Okay. Okay, now I'm ready to go kill things. Let's see. A boar, a griffin, or a bull? Let's see. Yes, I don't. Thank you. I feel like boar is the right call. And not just because it's the first thing I ran into. I was leaning boar anyways. Get rid of these over here. Not only food. Look, I'm in a pork mood. What do you want from me? But in honor of Horatio. Points if you remember. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 is a strange game. We're actually not streaming the whole game, though. As I mentioned at the beginning of the day, for those of you who weren't present for that, we're streaming half the game. The half of that is essentially just a cooperative, single-player RPG. The rest of the stuff we're just going to kind of leave over there. This is actually brand new for us. This is establishing precedence.
Competition gets younger and tougher.
But the more I looked into what it would take to actually showcase all the other content appropriately, the more my eyes just started to cross more and more. The panic just started setting in, and finally I was like, okay, you know what?
Hurry up, Ido. I want to get to the moot before Kettle Keg Drinker drinks all the ale.
My God, Braywin.
Hail, Hunter. I'm the local leather worker. Ido's the name. Show me your kills, and I'll make them into trophies.
Oh, we'll definitely talk about it.
Pricking, singing, and boasting. I love a good old-fashioned moot. Others save their parties for holidays, but I say every day alive's worth celebrating. Hey, Newt, look at this impressive trophy. Worthy of the great hunt, I'd say.
Indeed. You are skilled enough to defeat your prey, and wise enough to revere their spirits. You are worthy to join in this year's great hunt. By my own hand, I've brought the mighty worm Isormir. He waits above in the plateau for one such as you to challenge him. The great heir Stegalkan watches over him now, waiting for the hunt to commence. When it is time, you and the others will go to the high ground, over the valley. There you will face Isormir, and claim victory, if you can.
I can and I will. This is where my legend begins.
Yeah, you may or may not have noticed that I'm making a character and then immediately deleting them. I actually have one of each race, so if I really wanted to, I do have the means to go ahead and go through the entire vanilla MSQ. But, yeah, that's not really worth it. Patch within Midnight and Dealer's Choice. You got it. Thank you, Atal Hakar. Love the name, by the way. Probably said that before, but I still stand by it. Air? Air? Oh, okay.
Get ready to fight.
We'll head over here and do some stuff instead. I hope you're at least, like, skinning and harvesting the meat from these, right? Like, this is a huge waste of animals otherwise.
Ale makes me want to hunt. Hold on to your What else is there?
Oh no, it's flies. It's more flies. Oh, how did they fit the... Did they just keep the flies in there with the Moa? Man.
You can't, because I'm
Oh,
not.
I see what you did there. Very clever.
Oh, hey. I can accompany Air now. No, wait. Let me get through the door. Okay, we're through. Whew.
May Snow Leopard grant you swiftness and grace.
May Raven bless you with the vision to see and the wisdom to understand.
Walk with the pack. In the eyes of Wolf, we are all brothers and sisters.
Yeah, the animal spirits are actually pretty cool in this one. Praise Joko.
Battle with the strength of fear.
Oh god, am I too late? I think I'm too late.
There's our prey.
Oh, there we go, okay. Ugh. Thank you, Wrecker's Beard, for the sub. The move, it's... I mean, it's only the second worst move I've ever had. If you want to pick the three things, please let me know, Record Spirit.
All hail the Slayer of Isomir. Now return to the Snow Lord's Gate as no mere hunter, but a champion.
Oh man, the worst move. It's actually a pretty big gap between the worst move and this one. The worst move is when I moved from Northern California to Eastern Kansas. That was awful.
What a hunt! I heard about your victory. Very impressive.
Thank you. It was a hard-fought battle, and I'm proud of my part in it.
An excellent beginning to your legend, friend. You know, a lot of folks around here have problems that need solving. A slayer like you could be a big help. Putting your skills to work sharpens them, and helping others wouldn't hurt your reputation either. Think of the glory.
I will seek out these problems and solve them. Then we will see how my legend grows.
They might have intended a connection, Charr. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the direction they were going in. Remember, the only thing that's required to be a Loa, a spirit god, or whatever they call them, wild god, excuse me, is to be a specific type of animal that's been infused with a large amount of spirit energy, right? So, it's actually not all that unreasonable to say that they just happen to both be animals, because remember, they grew up on different planets that happen to both generate enough energy. It could also just be asset reuse, who knows? And I got that for Xenogear, Skyrim, and To the Tissues. So, since we're not deleting this character, this is what you're supposed to do to level. Now, hang on. They added something since the last time I leveled in vanilla. So we're going to try this sucker out. See how bad, good, and in between this is. It's called the Adventure Guide. You see it in the upper right over there? Adventure Guide Volume 1. Scout the area, complete renests, blah, blah, blah. So, remember, everything's achievements. So, let's see. I don't even know what we get for doing this, but let's just try it. Let's just try it. So, scout the area, which is speak with 3 scouts in any of the starter zones. Okay, well, there happens to be a scout right in front of us.
This valley is a sacred but dangerous place. Visit the shrines to the spirits of the wild. You'll be tested by both our enemies and the spirits themselves. And look out for extraordinary chances to prove your courage. You honor us all by acting without being called.
Okay, I can work with that. I like the level indicators there, too.
There's much ground for you to cover, but you can speed your travels by finding the Asuran waypoints. You may have to pay a small fee to return to them faster than the Ravenflies.
Oh, gosh. I don't know if I can afford that. Hang on, let me check my 1,598 gold. No, I can't afford it. Sorry. Let's go grab that. Now to do a heart. No, actually, first thing we're going to do... Oh, wait. First, we got to establish a color. So I said black, right? Hang on. I had 30 gold, Giga. Why are hearts bad? I'll actually explain that. I've decided, after considerable thought, we're not actually reviewing hearts, really. But let me come back to that. Let me look at my dies. Here we go. Let's look at our mounts. Okay, so first and foremost, this is not what I want. Where's my mounts? Here we go. So let's change the correct mount on all the mounts. There we go. There we go. I don't have that one. There we go. And I don't have... By the way, this is one of the mounts in this game. The snakehead. Look at the snakehead. Look at it. Look at it. Alright. So, now we go over to dies. Because we can't die from that channel for some reason. Let's see. So... No, I want that channel, I think. Hang on. Different. Oh, that's so obviously not black. I may have to actually spring for a black at some point at this point. Hang on, maybe here? Here? There it is. That's the one. So lower right. Lower right's the one I want. I have spent money on this game. I have bought the brandeds. And, like, 3 outfits, I want to say. And stuff for this run. Because you have to buy bank slots, and you have to buy shared bank slots, and you have to buy character slots. And I need to do all that for this run. So, I actually still need to buy another character slot. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's see. So we're black. What else? We're a ranger. Let's do... We can do shades of black. And just be really black, so we could have, like, that black there, right? And then... Hang on. There we go. I don't know, it's a little too red. What do you think? What do you think? Let's see what it looks like in action. It's kind of blue, actually. This is the rest of the stream. We're just figuring this out here. Go up. Which of these changes the damn color of that? There we go, it's the last one. Right, because I'm an idiot. Oh, I agree with you completely, Record Spirit. I've already given it a minimum of 9 negatives. I haven't decided how many more it's going to be, because it's going to be more. The cash shop in this game is awful. There's no defending it. It's awful. Moving on. It is the worst of the big 3 by quite a margin. So it looks like I don't have really dark green. I've got, like... Well, no, I actually do have midnight green. Never mind. There's midnight green right there. That might work out. So hang on. So let's do... that there. And then... My God, look at that red. Jesus. Yeah, of course I don't have actual black, because actual black costs about 40 freaking gold. I could afford it. It is possible to afford it. I should go with, like, something closer to this. Kind of get this kind of amber autumn colored thing going on. What do y'all think? What do y'all think?
Yeah.
I don't have black. Or the really expensive one. It is very Mordramoth, which I suppose is appropriate for a ranger. We could mix a little blue in there. Hang on, where's my blue? There it is. What's that look? Tar? Hang on. Tar's only 3. Glossy back is 4. Let's go back to Tar for a second. Yeah, that's the other thing about this game. There's like 50 billion dyes for each shade. That's a pretty solid black, though. I bet I couldn't see the difference between that and this. Yeah, not really. I know, Giga, I know. WoW's shop is entirely, well, is mostly cosmetics except for the buy gold thing, which is a whole thing. It's a thing I understand and do not approve of, is probably the simplest way to put that. That is an interesting purple. It's 4... Why is that 400 gold? Why is purple 400 gold? Oh my God. I think I'm gonna buy Tar. Yeah, I'm a terrible person. What do you want from me? Hang on. So now I gotta go pick that up. Who's near the thing? Sure, you'll do. Whatever. Just anybody. They should all be in Gandharan right now. You like how when I change characters, it keeps my chat, by the way? I actually pulled Mistlock out of the shared so I could have some room in shared. So I actually couldn't have used Mistlock. Go figure. So weird seeing any number other than 80 on my character screen. So that is what Tar looks like on the wings. Kind of with that, actually. Look at that. I think I like that. Yeah, I think that's solid. I could fiddle with it even more, but no, I think I like that. Okay, so hang on. So let's repeat this. No, you were right, Giga. You were right. So here's what they all look like, just to film on. As soon as they load. Well, that is loaded. Oh my god, look at that. Look at that. This one, I'm literally just dropping tar on the ground. Look at that. No, I like it. I like it. Okay, so, sorry. Enough screwing around. So here's the thing. I lied horribly to you. I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me for this terrible aggros. But this character, can't go there. So, instead, I'm going to show you how to get to the capital as a new character. So, what I'm going to do... hop on a raptor. Leave all those dead people on the ground. They don't matter. Okay, those people don't matter. So every starter zone is immediately next to a capital city. Every capital city has a portal to, well, everywhere else. Right there. And unlike some games I could mention, you can actually mount in capital cities here. FF14 packs. Gonna go and grab this waypoint while I'm here. And Lion's Arch. And once you're here, you're good to go. FF14 recently implemented the most, like... It's nice, I'm happy it exists, but they implemented the weirdest freaking thing. So you have the run button, right? Which has a cooldown. But now, as long as you're not in combat, after you run, you go down to jogging, which is just a... It has no duration, you just have a permanent run speed, as long as you're out of combat. What is this? You can tell it's been a while since I've made a new character and gone to Lion's Arch. So Lion's Arch didn't used to look like this. This is new Lion's Arch. I believe we'll technically cover that because Season 1 is back in the game now. So...
I know your face from my dream.
I'm an idiot, of course. Very important to clarify idiocy. Let's do this. Top on you. So I'm doing this on purpose, but I should probably save it for later. I'll do it in a minute. I know we're doing things a little bit over. I'm a little bit distracted because...
I know your face from my dream.
I have everything you need right here.
Apex, who was the staff going to? That was my thief, right? Pretty sure it was my thief. In fact, I can just put this... I can't put that up there. Yeah, I'm almost positive it was my thief. What is that skin? Jesus. It's a flame Atronach right there from the new Oblivion R. Yeah, I need to get the short bow too. Let me pick this up real quick. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Alright, Giga. It is your time to shine. You ready for this? It kind of does lead a fairy, but kind of doesn't. Basically, it does, but they haven't mattered in years. Is the simple way to put that. Look, I just love the leaf hair. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll check in a sec, Pax. Just give me a minute. Oh, wow. Scarlet Briar there. I'm on an SSD. Lion's Arch really is that bad. That's a good question. Sylvari female is voiced by... Let me look it up. Jennifer Hale. Shrug. State of Denial, Metallica. I kind of want to try a different hair color. Not a different hair thing. We're going to do that. I think I like that. Yep, let's do that. Let's do that. Come in. Okay, so fire, obviously. Dignity, which is my usual. Let's do the green. This one. Same thing we did last time. Dead of Night, just for Giga. Giga pudding. I'm not going to do that. I could, but I'm not going to do that. It's steal your name, Giga Pudding. I don't know, Mid-Earth. Look, Dead Knight is the... blood. Okay, listen. I know you have parrots, okay? Good news, we can skip this. We can skip a lot of this, actually.
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
See? Skip. They started us off with a sword as an elementalist.
This way. Those hounds are an aspect of... I know it looks grim, but you must...
I mean, it's better than a great maul, am I right?
She's gone to fight the Nightmare Beast. I'm sure she could use you there.
That is a dagger. What do you know? Alright, now this is an extremely difficult fight, okay? We're fighting a tree with a fire elementalist. So Elementalist's big shtick, every class has a shtick. We haven't really talked about class design yet, but Elementalist's big shtick is it can switch between fire, air, I forget if it's water or ice, and earth. And that's going to be your F1 through F4 bars. It is water, okay. Good remember, good remember. As you can see, even though we're wielding... So, I'll talk about weapon skills in just a minute, since we're going to start actually talking about class design, and how Elementalists suck. Okay, now we're going to do the adventure log.
Pardon me. I'd like to talk. Welcome to Asura.
Okay, fine, I'll let her talk.
Welcome to Astoria. As you journey forth into the unknown, know that you are not alone. Seek guidance from those who make their homes here, and help them in a time of need. The path ahead is yours to choose.
Okay, I think he's finally leaving the kitchen. Jesus Christ.
As you journey outward, you'll encounter amazing Asuran waypoints that, for a small fee, allow you to rapidly traverse the land.
I am very grateful for the place I have and the setup here, and the fact that I have a place to stay at all while the transition is happening. But it's a little frustrating how little respect I get as my job, and so, you know. Anyways. So what color should we go with Elementalist? I was thinking all four, right? Oh, who's that? Hello, Giga. I know Wrecker's Beard. I'm just smiling and nodding, and I am grateful, legitimately. But there's a reason we're streaming this as opposed to like anything else right now. Yes, let's go ahead and put that on a ring. Sure, why not? You know, for my necklace, oh, I can't equip because it's 80. That's actually funny. All right, we'll put that there. So let's think colors. So what? Hang on, let's uncover Giga here. Don't want to cover a poor Arene Giga there. Let's think colors. I know this is so stupid, but this is like one of the most important things for me whenever I make a new character. It's like, okay, first of all, set up all the branded stuff. This was such a difficult thing to procure. I want my freaking branded. Okay. That was like 2 years ago at Talakar. And they're selling the house. Is the very, very, very summarized summary. So, let's see. So we want... Which one do we want of the wings? So, right, I want to do the 4, right? We got 4 colors to play with, right? So, fire, earth, water, wind, right? Which one do we want on the wings? Because that's the one that's going to do that. You see that trail that it's leaving in the sky? That's arguably the most important color. It's the one that's going to dominate the whole thing. Like we had black for the ranger we just made. It definitely has lightning vibes, so we could put air on the tips there.
He said,
see what that looks like. Is that too bright? Oh, that's kind of... It's really light blue. Actually, yes. Mr. Red. Can I have someone kill Mr. Red really quick, please? I appreciate it. Well, I already have a fire theme on my Necro, so I don't want to repeat that too much. So I like the idea of air. But we need fire somewhere, right? So where do we put fire? We could do fire as the accent. And then earth. I don't have a lot of earthy tones. Earth like there, maybe? And that just leaves water. I want like a really bright blue for water. I don't know if I like that. It's too... I've got blue and blue. Historically, usually air is represented by green or yellow, just to make it something other than blue. I guess we could do green. I can't do yellow. Yellow's already a thing. Oh, Jesus, that looks awful. Oh my god, look at it. It's so horrible. It's so horrible. Still like that light blue, though. I still think that's the right call on the wingtips. So, for water, let's make water the dark blue. That's actually a good idea. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, wow. Okay. That's... I kind of like that. But now we need to... So why don't we swap these? Let's swap magma up here. And then get like a nice brown here instead as an accent. Let's see. We want to do like a light brown accent? So this is what like light brown would look like, right? God, that's nuclear. Or we could do like a deep mahogany thing. Like that. Because it's mostly going to be on like the spikes. You see those? Maybe something other than the mag. Maybe something a little bit... There we go. Like that drifts more towards purple. Or blue, rather. And maybe, like, drift this down a little bit. Or Shadow Violet, there it is. I think I agree with you. I think the dark brown works really solid there. So then we've got air represented by the wingtips. And that really deep violet is going to be water. And then the red is obviously fire. I can try magma again. It's too bright. I just... it doesn't work. Let's go back to that. And then the mahogany for the horns. Let's try that. Let's see what this looks like in action. I think I kind of like that. The light blue and the mahogany are actually an interesting contrast, because if you see that, the tips of the spikes are the light blue, the lightning, and then the bases is the mahogany. Earth to air. I think I like it. I think I like it. It's a little eclectic, but that's kind of what I was going for. I wanted contrast. And it's going to look like this when we move around.
Pardon me. I'd like to talk to you.
I think it works. I think it works. Let's do it. So let's commit to copy-pasting all that onto all my mounts. Let me see what all of these look like in just a minute. I mean, obviously the sky scale is the important one. There we go. No, I mean, technically, like, all the hex colors are there, but the way you get dyes is a whole thing in this game. It's basically gacha. You have to open a dye pack, and it might contain the dye you want. So there's our raptor. I think that looks sweet, personally. A little skeletal, but I'm kind of with it. There's the griffin. Oh, that I like that. Look at that. That's like a bloody frost lightning griffin. Look at that. Oh, that's legit. There's our glider. Oh, jeez, that's even more bloody. Look at that thing. I think the deep scarlet was a good pick for the red. And I love how it looks like chunks of rock that have frozen over because of the combination of mahogany and teal. Oh, I like that. I like that. And then, let's see what our trail looks like. Nice, 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 nice. I'm with it. I'm with it. And of course, here's just our beetle in general. And of course, where is it? One I don't even have a hot bound because I never use it. It doesn't actually look all that great, I'm not gonna lie. But it's the Springer. It never looks good. It's a bunny. What do you want from it? It's a bunny. I haven't used the bunny since I got the Sky Scale. Well, there's a reason the Sky Scale is kind of my default, J. Palmer. Yeah, exactly, Clover. The Sky Scale literally can go further up than the Springer, especially if there's a wall to go up on. But I did want to see if I have a skin. Here's my Jackal skin. You'll probably never see me use this either, because this is mostly just used for getting through certain specific secondary content that we're not actually doing. And finally is the Warclaw. I only have one Warclaw skin. I don't even remember where I got this from. That looks terrible. Probably because it's the wrong setup. Yeah, the Griffin isn't actually a flyer. It's a glider with a little bit of a that can kind of put up, but it's a glider. Now, what this can do? Sorry, one moment, and then I swear to God, we'll actually start leveling Elementalist. Who's up there? You, I think, are up there. Give me a second. I changed my key bindings recently, so I might not do it as well. Yes and no, Atalakar. So you can still get it that way, and you still get benefit for doing the long grind. However, A, the grind in general is easier just because of the nature of how the game's gotten, and the Wizard's Vault, which is a great way to get some of this stuff. And B, you just get a Sky Scale for being in, I think it's Janthier. It's one of the new 2 expansions that I actually haven't done yet. Here we go. How long of a grind? Took me a few months. Pax got it before I did. I hated that grind, though. I absolutely hate it. It is a true grind. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or butsing about it. It's a true, just go do events in a zone and get a couple of resources at a time. It was awful. I hated it. I hated every moment of it. There we go. Okay, so you've seen me do Sky Scale, right? This is what Sky Scale is. It has a bit of a vertical height cap, right? Which is right there. You can actually see it on the bar below me, right there. Now, when you go down, you reclaim some of that energy. See? So you've got a bit of a vertical height cap. Once you cap out in height, you can still glide like most other things, but you can't go up again unless you do something like, say, that, which gives you another boost of air in order to go further up. Make sense? And otherwise, it's mostly just a relatively quick flying mount, which allows you to bypass terrain, and you can do stuff like this. However, the Griffin... I'm in combat. Come on, I'm over here. Okay, so the Griffin can do this. Now, you probably can't tell how fast I'm moving, but this is basically as fast as it's possible to be in this game. The problem is you really need height. Like, you really need height in order to be able to pull it off. It probably didn't look like it, but I just dropped, like, oh god, I don't know, 1,000 feet. It's a pretty... but you can tell because that's where I took off from, up there, the thing I'm below. This is still slower than dragon flying. Probably because there's render limits in this game. You can tell it's actually having issues keeping up with the terrain as I'm moving along here. But yeah, people who are really good at this can do it much better than I just did. But if you want to go a very long distance horizontally, this is what the Griffin's really best at. It's why I still have the Griffin bound, is because it's still useful. So, flying in WoW without using dragon flying is swimming. You're just swimming in the air. In terms of speed, the Griffin is definitely faster, and the Skyscale is substantially slower. However, obviously, swimming is just, it's total control. In D&D terms, it's perfect flight, right? You just have total control of yourself in the air, in any direction, anytime. This thing has, like, turning radius, right? There's some physics involved. This is what dragon flying was copying, was the idea of being able to glide, or having to deal with like the dash thing, which I was just showing off, which is this, and to be able to get that kind of a boost, right? Anyways, sorry. Moving on. I just want to show. I guess this is a great time to talk about mounts. Mounts are awesome. I should mention mounting in midair is actually a mastery. We haven't really talked about masteries yet. That would be... yeah, there it is. You can now mount and dismount in midair. It's that one right there, which I've had for forever. There's another one for Skyscale. You can now mount and dismount in midair. So you do have to level up and then spend points on these. But you can do it. It is something you can do. Generally speaking, if you're not going to really do any of the extra stuff like legendaries or fractals or whatever, generally speaking, when it comes to a new expansion and a new set of masteries, I highly recommend focusing on the mount stuff first. There are a couple of exceptions to that, but for the most part, this is just going to be a lot of quality of life stuff you really want. Like being able to mount in midair. Mounts were they're a bad thing in the game. Yeah, WoW Vanilla. I'm kidding. I'm not sure there's a game where I can think of a mount as being a bad thing. I'd have to think about that. I feel like there's one. It's tickling in the back of my brain. Where, like, it's actually slower than just running. And, like, it sucks because if you get dismounted, you get stunned or something like that. It would be one of the older ones. I don't remember which one. Anyways. Mounts. So I said we talk about these. The Skyscale is useful. In pure gameplay design, it's not great, honestly, in terms of traversal. Like I said, its real benefit is the fact that it is a flyer. It's got a dash forward, which is nice and can do damage, and of course, you can shoot fireballs. Like that. Shooting fireballs is nice and helpful. Being able to dash is nice, being able to fly is nice. It is the default mount for a reason. There's a reason they gave it to players for free in the expansion I'm currently roaming around in. I mean, just look around for a second. Yeah, I saw that too, Jay Palmer. But I would say this is just kind of whatever. It's not bad. I think I could swing like a single positive, so let's go and do that. Skyscale. The Griffin is a little... Most of the other mounts are so specialized, we're probably going to give it aggregate positive for the mounts in general. You've already seen what the Griffin can do, which is whoosh. This thing is only really used for two things. One is traveling over water, which is faster. And here, I can actually kind of show you. You can physically see how much my speed increases the moment I hit the water. Do you see that? And then I slow back down when I don't. Okay. It also hovers a little bit. This thing can go underwater if you do a mastery. I haven't. And otherwise, it's only really useful for making sure that you're not in certain types of terrain, which I believe is exclusive to Path of Fire, where you don't want to take damage. And yeah, exactly. Quicksand and lava are the two big things. Otherwise, I only really use this mount when I feel like having a default ground mount, because it's this or the Raptor, really. It's cool looking, but it's kind of whatever, right? Masteries are per account. So if you level it on one character, you have it, period. As we mentioned earlier, whoops. This game is actually pretty alt-friendly. Be account-friendly, that actually be a better way to put that. So, that's whatever. The Raptor, weirdly enough, is actually pretty good. So first of all, it is the ground fast mount. It is substantially faster, so that's its primary purpose, but also has the which you've seen me do a few times. Huh. I can't dismount. I'm incapable of dismounting. So this is gonna end interestingly in a few seconds. Hey! I did hit the dismount button. It didn't do anything. It was the first button I hit. Anyways. So yeah, it's a lunger. It's a good thing for just zooming across flat terrain. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. I don't even know who you are. Shut up, shut up, shut up, voice. I don't know who you are.
Though I do quite like...
Shut up. I literally don't know who that is. They've just been talking to me as I've been doing Wizard's Vault stuff. So this is decent. You know, this is like your basic mount with a little bit of extra thing. One extra thing to note, all the mounts have an attack. So this one has an attack which has Defiance Break built in. Whoosh. It's actually the only reason I tend to have my Springer here at all is because the Springer attack is a nice big Defiance Break there. We'll talk about that in a minute. The Beetle is an optional mount. So the Beetle's point and purpose, other than just leaving this cool trail of stuff around, is to go very, very fast downhill or, downhill or on a flat terrain. See what I mean by that just a second. Ironically, vanilla is actually really good to show off the Beetle because you can really get some speed going on some of these hills. The Beetle's interesting. Every time you go downhill, you gain speed. Every time you go uphill, you lose speed. That's pretty much it. That's the Beetle in a nutshell. Oh yeah, there's also a drift, which I'm not sure what it's bound to now. Because I redid my bindings very recently. I think it's this. Yeah, there's the drift. There's the drift. Oh, Jesus. Beetle's cool. The Beetle races are cool, is actually really what that boils down to. And the Beetle probably feels the most like driving a freaking car. What am I missing? I talked about this. So the rabbit is completely invalid. This is, I think it's faster than running, but the rabbit's only real purpose is going up. So if this is something, I believe the rabbit is one of the default mounts, one that you'll get as a part of just doing the MSQ. So you'll get the raptor, you'll get the raptor, you'll get the glider, which is this thing. You'll get the rabbit, and I think you get the jackal? I'm not actually sure about that. Don't quote me on that. Those are the default ones. You have to go out of way to get the roller beetle and the griffin and the sky scale and the turtle until the recent expansion. The recent expansion gave you the sky scale, and the recent expansion, the most recent expansion also gave you the war claw. The war claw is completely different. I can't show this off, however, because I haven't done that expansion yet, so I don't even have access to this mastery track. Like, I have this little air hop thing, but I can't do jack with it right now. Yeah, the turtle and the war claw. The turtle, I hated getting the griffin. I hated getting the sky skill. The turtle wasn't terrible until we hit that stupid strike mission. You'll notice this is the only one I don't have any skins for, because there's no branded turtles. But yeah, the griffin was, do you have 250 gold? Which at the time, I assuredly did not. That was the thing. Anyways, sorry, mounts. So, most of the mounts are just whatever. I like the variety of their usage. I like the fact that you could swap between them, and I like the fact that you can hotkey being able to swap at will, which is good. But some of these mounts are really ancillary, right? So, like, for example, the Jackal's only real thing is the blink. And the blink is primarily just used as a way to get access to certain very specific areas. So the Jackal's whatever, right? The Warclaw, I can't talk about yet. The Griffin, glider. The Sky Scale, flyer. The Roller Beater is a racer. Do you mind? Anyways, the Skimmer goes over stuff, the Springer jumps, the Raptor's your default. So that only really leaves one mount, and this is the last mount I want to give separate points to. So I think all the other mounts probably deserve a positive amongst them. It's not the end of the world. There's some decent stuff. And there's good design, and I do like the quality of life of key binding. But I think the turtle deserves its own special mention. So the siege turtle takes... First of all, it's a two-seater. Being able to have someone else be in the mount is actually really helpful, and they have abilities which can actually improve your ability to function. I think it speeds you up, something like that. I'm not even done finishing the mastery track for the turtle, so I'm not 100% sure what all of it is. And they gain access to these giant freaking cannons right here. Oh, there's Giga here. Hang on, let me just invite Giga really quick. She can show off. There you go. So, we'll go ahead and run. And there we go. You see that she just did? That was her. And she's got these cannons which she can use to do stuff like that. This is a tank, if it's not obvious. That's why it drifts so much. I can hover a little bit, and I can do... Actually, this is great for metas, man, whatever. And I can also do this stomp attack, which does a fairly large amount of damage. This is why I say this, as much as it's kind of a weird mount, in terms of pure design, I think the turtle is actually really cool. Both players benefit each other. It has a nice ranged attack, a nice melee attack, and just the mechanics of it are interesting, right? They change how you play it, and they change what you can do with it, right? Exactly, Riker Spirit. No, I agree completely. A lot of mount design positives are actually... Oh, it also does Defiance Break. I didn't even know that. A lot of the positives I technically would have given to mounts, I'm actually going to give to zone design once we get to Path of Fire, because Path of Fire is when the zone design really gets good. I mean, you just saw in the giant open sky area I was at, that zone is very clearly designed around having a Skyclaw, excuse me, right? Or a Griffin. Boom. Whoosh. Who's that? Who's that? Oh no, I'm being stalked by a Brigwin. Kill her! Kill her! No, she's too fast. We can't get her. So I think the turtle deserves its own positive, is what I'm trying to say. The turtle's awesome. The turtle and the sky scale both, I think, deserve their own positives. The Warclaw, we'll bank that for now, because I can't actually fairly review it yet. I was going to show off something. I already kind of showed that off. Oh, so where's it here? And then here, and then here, and then here. So there's a couple of interesting turtle skins. Like there's your Throne of Thunder King turtle, which is just awesome. There's this one. I don't have much to add to this one. I've shown this one off before. This is the best one, obviously. Objectively, the best one. There's this Jade Tech one where the whole turtle is just Jade, very charged Jade Tech. And there's a couple of, more basic ones, like the prehistoric dinosaur-looking thing. A couple of skins. There's this, like, glowing-in-the-dark one. There's the one where you could see through it, which is kind of terrifying. Ice one. Almost all the ice skins are really cool. In fact, I was... Oh my god, Rector's Beard. I've done Heart of Thorns without mounts. I just want to say that. Oh my god. I'm going to give so many negatives to those zones. Yes, all of these cost real money. Usually about 15 to 35 bucks, I believe is the range. Anyways, all of the Frost skins are really good. I was actually really tempted by the Frost skins when I settled on Branded. There's another Jade Tech one. The Fire one is really cool, too. Look at that. Oh my god. Barb thing. Southern thing. River thing. No branded. No branded turtle. I am sad. That's okay. So that's mounts. Let's see. What in the world is that? Is that the bunny? It is. That's the bunny. That is a bunny skin. They all have a plush skin, by the way. Here's Yoshi. Let's just call it what it is. It's Yoshi for the raptor. There's the jackal. There's the Warclaw. I've actually seen a lot of people use this in WVW. Like a weirdly large amount. There's the Griffin. Oh. Hello. There's the Sky Scale. You kind of figured where this was going. Really, Giga? I believe you. And you already saw the turtle. Yeah, so there's a plush of, I think, all of them. Yeah, there's a plush of all of them. There's not a branded of all of them. How much is this right now? I'm actually curious. That is 1,600 gems, which is 20 bucks. 20 bucks per skin. Thanks. Anyways, the plush skins are really cool. I'm not gonna, like... Again, as long as you're not really buying into it, buying a few microtransactions in order to support a game that you like isn't something that bothers me. It didn't bother me in STO, and it doesn't bother me here. It's everything else that bothers me. Oh my god. Yes, you can earn gems with... James? You can earn gems with gold by trading them. Jesus, lore. I know I'm tired, but god. With this thing right here. And it varies. So like right now I can buy 838 gems with 250 gold. Yeah, it's the same concept, right? You play a game a whole lot. You get a lot of value out of it. Sure. Spend 20 bucks on it. But the thing is, it's so easy to fall into that pit. There have been so many traps and designs and study and psychology done over decades in order to try and convince you to just spend a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And there's hundreds of techniques they use to try and get you to just keep spending money on it. So, buyer beware, right? So, I am not at the new home. Things are all packed. The existing home, which is still about an hour that way, is currently being sold. Hi, Juka Bazooka. Trying during trying times. I'm sure you understand exactly what that's like. I hope everyone here who lives in LA is doing alright right now. Or Israel. Anyways. I know, Riker's Beard. What's the white one? That's Giga. What is that mount? Because Theta Fairy was asking. Well, that's the Aurene one, I'm almost positive. Who's Aurene? Don't worry about it. We'll get there. So one of these days we'll actually play this game instead of just review, like, mechanic-y stuff. I do think... Yeah, I know several people who live in both regions. Okay, that is Aurene's, I thought so. So, speaking of microtransactions... So here's where you can save builds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6 of these slots. I think you might get 5 initially. This is your build. This is your talents right here. Yeah, don't buy these. But this is where you save your build. And yeah, there's ways to do it. In fact, oh god, where is it? Where's the export? Where is it? I'm blind. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so if you'll notice, I'm just going to say copy build template. I'm just going to paste this in the chat. Boom. Do you see that right there? That's my build. Just save that into a notepad, literally. Like, pull up a .txt file and save that. Do not waste money on these. I only have 2 saved here, and it's just for convenience because I specifically intend to pull away from those. So yeah, it's the same. WoW actually does the exact same thing with its talents. It's the same thing. Thank you, Juka Bazooka. So this is your talent, but we'll talk more about the specifics later. Well, no, let's talk about it now. Let's do it. We're doing system stuff, right? We're doing mechanic stuff. So, the way your build works, let's talk about build. Gear quality, gear stats, runes, sigil, weapon. Okay? We've actually already talked about all of that. All of that is your power progression. So we'll go ahead and... I've already jotted down some positives for that under gear progression. We're also going to jot down a thing under power progression for that. So, the important one of that, a lot of that's into the min-maxing territory. The really big thing you have to care about is your weapon. You see these first 5 skills? These are determined by what you have equipped. So right now I have a gun. A gun is a two-hander. Two-handers give you 5 abilities. Make sense? If you have a one-hander and just a one-hander... Hang on, I'll actually demonstrate. And I'm actually going to unequip my pistol here. Do you notice how I only have 3 abilities on my bar? So your main hand is the first 3, and your offhand is the last 2. That's it. Main hand, offhand, 3-2, or two-hander, 5. So your half of your bar, half of your ability set right here is dependent on what weapon you have equipped. This is why almost every build is specifically going to be called like a staff, thief, or whatever. Like it's focusing on a specific build. You also have, if you notice, 2 weapon things, 2 weapon equipments. This is also part of most builds. I happen to be playing one of the extremely few builds that doesn't do that, but all my other characters have this thing. So you have your main thing, and you do like attack, attack, and then you attack, and then you attack, and then you switch, and then you start using your other weapon, and then you switch back. Make sense? So your 2 weapons determine your 1 through 5. And swapping back and forth between them is a fairly large amount of a lot of builds. For a while there was a meta which pretty much mandated doing that because every time you swap to get a buff. I think that meta's gone now, don't quote me on that. But it's still something that's useful for basically every setup. So there's nothing wrong with using 1 weapon, but you should probably get used to using 2. Your 6 is always going to be your heals. There's a bunch of heals here. They all do very specific different things. So like that's a heal. This is a heal which transfers conditions to my current target. That's a heal which also stealths me and gets rid of specific conditions. This is a small heal that gets rid of a bunch of conditions and also makes me invincible for half a second, 3/4 of a second. This heals me and my next few attacks have lifesteal. This heals me passively whenever I attack and heals me whenever I use it. Heals. So you determine your heal skill. And then 7, 8, and 9, these are called your utilities. All of these pull from the same thing, which is here. So you usually have something related to your build, or your spec, excuse me. Then you usually have stuff related to, I believe that's the human one? Or maybe that's the human one. Like there's something there that's related to your species or something. I don't actually remember because I haven't used them in a billion, trillion years. So these are utilities. Signets are a common type of... Here, I'll talk about types of utilities. It is racial. Ooh, I was right. Yeah, all the racials suck. Don't use racials unless you have another choice. So the ones with a little circle, like that, that means it's a targetable, like this. It puts a reticle on the ground, and that's how those activate. And I can also work back like that. Anything with that kind of signet, it looks like a circle. The actual icon looks like a circle, like both my 8 and my 9. So signets are all the same concept. They have a passive ability, which is always up, and then they have an active ability. And once you use them, you gain the active, right? So, like, for example, I have increased precision, and every time I use it, it refills my endurance and cleanses conditions nearby. This one gives me increased power, and I tap it to give myself a huge power boost for just a few seconds to burst, right? Then you've got your ultimates. In my opinion, elites, excuse me, are misnamed because I've played Guild Wars 1, and I remember when elites were like the linchpins of the entire build and were awesome. Oh god, yeah. So here's Pax in his legendary armor, like a dick. Actually, I don't know if that's the legendary suit, but he does have legendary armor. So your elites, right? Elites, some of these suck, of course. But most of them are specifically related to your spec. What is the spec? I've actually showed off briefly, but it's right down here. These 3 elite specializations. Once you completely max out all of an elite specialization, the very last ability is an elite skill. Impact Strike in that case, Shadow Meld here, and if I did Spectre, I'd get Shadowfall. Make sense? So, how much those matter depends on your build, right? For example, in the build I'm using, I don't use an elite skill. It's there because it's there. I don't care. In some of my builds, I use my elite, like my Mesmer. I have the summon a black hole on someone thing, which I use pretty much on cooldown. Stuff like that, right? So it depends. As with everything, it depends. So, weapons, heal, utility, elite. Okay. There's one last bit. So almost all of this stuff has a huge amount of malleability to it and depends on your build. This game is very big on build gameplay. But the one thing that's pretty static is your ability right here. So up here, you notice I have it bound to G, but normally that's your F1 key, okay? F1, F2, F3, and F4 are your class stuff. Now, class stuff, class stuff depends on which specialization you have equipped. So these elite specializations I mentioned, here, actually, you know, I have a much better character to show this on. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm a warrior. Hi, Olda Griffin. Also, Evo says hi, Pex. Okay, hang on 1 second. Pop this. Go to Norn. Telling you, this is my hub. Don't steal my hub, because then everybody will be here and it'll slow down the load times. This is my home base. God, it's so loud. I hope you don't hear that. So, warrior. I've got F1 and F2, right? I'm currently set up as Berserker, so my F1 is a lunging attack that hits something like a truck. And my F2 puts me into Berserk mode. Berserk mode, I gain quickness, I gain super speed, which is a unique thing. I gain burning, adrenaline, and I just start burning everything around me, and I just start hitting for a lot more. It also, yeah, I kind of want to... Here, hang on, let me get some... I can just show you this. Okay, so I pop Berserk. I am now literally on fire. And now... Hang on. I gotta keep in combat. Oh, God. Oh, God. Ugh. Gotta stay in combat. There's too few enemies. Oh, no. There's too few enemies. I ran out. I ran out of enemies. Okay, there we go. It gives you that giant hit, which also puts this fire barrier around you. That changes based on my spec, because I'm currently set up as a Berserker. Right there, Berserker. The other build I run on this character is Spellbreaker. That gives you, I don't know if it shows it here. Hang on. Well, screw it. I know how to swap it. We'll just swap to Spellbreaker. Boom, right there. So, we still have Eviscerate, but now I have full counter. I've actually mentioned this before. Absorb the next attack against you, and then counterattack all foes around you. Foes struck by the counterattack are interrupted. This is a great ability. It's a little situational, but it is a very good ability, especially if you're good about, let's call it what it is, parrying. And it does a lot of Defiance Break, it does Daze, it hits like a truck in an AoE. It also gives you stability while it's happening, which prevents you from being hit by certain types of debuffs. And it's got a decent cooldown, and so the general idea is you hit F1, which is your big hit. Then you hit F2, waiting for the strike. They counter, so you hit everything around you. That gives you enough Berserk energy to go ahead and hit F1 again. It's a great combo, and honestly, I kind of like it better than Berserker. But, you know, shrug. Or no, back to Berserker. No, Berserker, oh my god, where's Berserker? I lost it. There it is. Oh god, I don't remember what my talents were. I haven't played Engineer yet. It is actually the only class in this game I essentially have not played. Yeah, really. Not really on purpose, it's something that happened. That one, I think it was, and then... That one. I think. And that one. Yep. That was me. Oh, and I gotta get my heal back. Which I was using... Pretty sure I was using the Signet. Engineer has a lot of kit, and that's coming from Giga, who mains an Elementalist. So, That's what I mean by your kit. So let's just run through really quick. Weapon abilities, heals, utilities, elite, and then spec, right? This is dependent on your spec. F1, F2, F3, F4. That's pretty much it as far as build. But as you can see, there's a tremendous amount of malleability there. Let's say you're playing the game for the first time. You've picked whatever class. We'll say warrior because I happen to be on one. What do you pick? Honestly, if you're just going through the game, if you just want to enjoy the campaign, doesn't matter. Pick something that's cool. Pick something that's fun. Maybe vary it up every now and again if you see something new. Doesn't matter. Just play with it. Most builds are viable for, MSQ content, right? There's not really going to be something that's going to be terrible for that. If you want to do anything outside of MSQ, you're probably going to want to look into figuring out a build. I recommend plenty of online sources, which allow you to look up a build as a starting point. Never be afraid to tinker with their builds. I have disagreed with plenty of their builds over the years, because they tend to build builds around very, very specific encounters or circumstances or gear setups which you may not have access to. So, they're also, almost every build you'll find on like Meta Battle or the other side I can't remember the name of, will almost always be telling you to do like this super mega min-maxed thing in order to push out 60,000 DPS on this specific raid fight. Unless you're really getting into it, don't worry about that too much. That's it. Snow Crows was the other one, and Hardstuck, apparently. So Meta Battle, Hardstuck, and Snow Crows are the big three. Oh yeah, I was glowing. Yay! Sorry. Well, I like glowing hair. So, words. So that's all of this stuff. Yeah, exactly, Wrecker's Beard. The problem with Guild Wars 2 builds, and I've actually talked about this before because we discussed this during both the FF14 and the WoW runs. When designing builds, you want to map out what they can do, what their output is, either in terms of HPS or DPS or just capacity to live, right? You can mathematically math out a build's capacity, right? Any game with builds can do this. And you want there to be a gap in between the lowest and the highest. You want there to be a gap. If every build is exactly identical, you've done something wrong, to be perfectly frank. So you want there to be a gap. There needs to be a bad and there needs to be a best, right? But the thing is, you want this gap to be not super huge. This is a good measuring stick, mathematically, of the relative quality of build design in any game. Whether it's single player, multiplayer, competitive, MMO, doesn't matter, right? Guild Wars 2's gap is huge. And that's the biggest problem with Guild Wars 2's build design. There's a huge amount of variety, but the gap in between I have no idea what I'm doing versus I'm min-maxed is gargantuan. In fact, I was actually looking at this just the other day, if you give me a second here. Give me a sec. Here we go. So, right now, you can do 47,000 DPS, or you can do 20. And that's with min-maxing. That's a bit too big of a gap. That's a bit too much. And it has gotten better. That's the funny part. It used to be so much worse than that. I remember the last time I min-maxed in this game, which was when when End of Dragons was new. And there was a much bigger, it was like the low end, even if you know what you were doing, was capable of doing a few thousand DPS, and the high end was capable of doing like 30. So the gap has shrunk, I'll give them credit on it, but there is still a very, very large gap in build quality. And as was pointed out in chat by several people, there's just too much of it does not depend on you, right? You could be the dumbest, worst player in the universe, and it doesn't matter, because you're just doing the right build, you're running the right numbers, and therefore you are succeeding. This is something that I would argue does not exist in either of the other two big, the big three. Obviously, FF14 doesn't even have builds, it just has classes, but WoW has builds, and in both cases, skill can make you push a little bit further than other people, just if you know what you're freaking doing, when to do what. And yeah, that's another thing, high-end builds in Guild Wars 2. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is, negative for builds. And also multiple positives for builds. Because, I mean, there's a lot of builds in this game. What I'm currently thinking, it's functionally impossible for me to properly rate every class's build capacity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend some time off camera. I'm going to look at all of the elite specs for each class, and I'm going to assign builds per class. Build positive per class, which is the same thing we did over in WoW and Diablo 3. And we'll see how many positive, because it's going to be a lot. It's going to be an absolutely bare minimum of 1 positive per class, right? So I'll look at that later, but bunches of build positives for that. Okay. Kit. Let's talk about Kit. Kit is almost universally down to weapons. I don't know what all a warrior can equip. That's actually an interesting question. Look it up. Here we go. So a warrior, for example, could equip a greatsword, a hammer, a longbow, a rifle, a staff, a spear, an axe, a dagger, a mace, a sword, an axe, a dagger, an offhand, mace, pistol, shield, sword, torch, or warhorn. And yeah, that's a bunch. And then I think... Okay, no. It does include the stuff that you get from most elite specs come with like a new weapon type. Like, for example, I remember when Elementalist got a specialization that allowed them to equip two-handed maces. And obviously spears, which is one we've talked about now, is another thing. Possible Cold Grip? I'm not actually sure. I know that some of that is locked behind things I haven't done yet, which I need to catch up with at some point. Anyways, lots of kit in itemization. So, because functionally, weapons, as weird as this is going to sound, the stats on the weapon aren't as important as the fact that it is a greatsword. Because again, that determines your 1 through 5. So, once again, I think that's probably going to be kit per class. So, per class, per weapon variety. And once again, I will do an off, because that's going to be a nice boring thing. Nobody wants to see me just sit down and stare at the screen and debate, you know, and nobody cares about that. So I'll do that later. We'll give those positives later. But there's going to be a bunch of kit positives as well for the same reason. And then we'll do kit for utility. And we will give no kit positives for elite skills, because elite skills suck. Okay. And then we have kit for F1 keys. Put that there too. Okay. So we've talked about equipment. Here's the stat screen. This is actually pretty self-explanatory. The icons are meaningless to me. It's all dribble. But you can just mouse over it and it says that increases crit, that increases condition, that increases condition duration, boon duration. Boom. That's just, it's all self-explanatory. Now, you say Mesmer elite skills are great, and I completely disagree. Ignore where I am. Don't look. Don't look. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening here. Nothing's happening. No, we're not here. We're not here. Nothing's... There we go. Okay. You saw nothing. You saw nothing. Okay. I tinker with my Mesmer periodically because I've never been satisfied with it. I know that sounds strange because I've probably played it the most, but Mesmer's a weird one, and Gravity Well does that. See you around, Record Spirit. I know you're making fun of me, but I'm doing my best, man, I swear. Now, the thing I like most about Mesmer is it's probably my favorite ranged. Technically, my Thief is a ranged as well, but this is the ranged I actually enjoy as playing. Mesmer elites, by the way. Obviously, there's Gravity Well, you just saw me do that, but there's another one called Time Warp. Gives quickness and super speed to every ally in the area, while also adding slow to every enemy in the area. Yeah. Mirage, huh? Hang on. Which one's this one? This is Axe. Interesting. I'm gonna have to mess with that. As you can see, you can tell I spent a lot of time on my Mesmer because I have 2.5 specs already trained, and I hate doing hero trains. Just hate doing hero trains. We'll talk about that later. It's heroes. Yeah, right. Anyways. So, elite skills are fine. I was actually joking. I'm probably going to get positives for elite skills. So we've talked about kit, we've talked about builds, we've talked about cosmetics, we've talked about the store, we've talked about the map, we talked about leveling, and how it shouldn't even exist in this game. We talked about inventory and how it sucks. Everything sucks. The world sucks. Overall design we haven't really gotten to yet. Help me out. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, the U.S. train system is much worse. Don't ride on Amtrak if you can avoid it. Let's see. I guess we could talk about guilds. Sure. So here's what guilds are. Guilds give you benefits. They're I don't know. I don't even know what the name of my guild is. It's Legends of Thunderhead. Sorry. So, what is this? Why is this here? I'm going to leave now. Who decorated this place? Why is Kral Katoric just flying overhead? Anyways, guilds do come with several benefits. Obviously, there's like literally just stat benefits for being in a guild. This is so gaudy. But the main thing that I use the guild for, to be totally honest with you, is this. They probably have one of these set up, and you probably want to use these. This is where you can gather materials. I believe these reset every day. The daily reset's weird in Guild Wars 2. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is... Or no, sorry, no, it's 8 p.m. Sorry, it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a really weird reset point. But you can just pop in here and just gather materials. I don't actually know the nitty-gritty specifics of how this works. I'm going to be honest, I usually just use this when I'm working on a legendary or when I'm trying to finish up a Wizard Vault. Oh! Wizard's Vault. That's a thing I could talk about. Yes. Yes, yes, no. So, Wizard's Vault. I've actually kind of given a bit of a PSA about the Wizard's Vault. Here's the really quick PSA in just 5 seconds. Do the Wizard's Vault if you care about this game at all, because it will be worth it, okay? Now here's the thing. Dailies, weeklies, seasonals, okay? These give you these points. These points go up here. You can have 1,300 at a time. You spend them on really nice stuff. You can spend them on cosmetics if you want to, if you're weird. But this was a game changer. No joke. This the only reason I have an entire suit of Ascended gear is because the vault exists. You'll notice I have already purchased a full set of armor from this. The vault can get you a legendary weapon starter key, which nukes like half of getting a new legendary weapon, a Gen 1 specifically, legendary weapon. You can get an Ascended weapon. Reminder, Ascended weapons are the best stats available, and they're BOA, so you can transfer them between characters. You can get gold, you can get transmutation charges, which is exactly what they sound like. Gold is exactly what oh, sorry. Nope, I'm wrong. That's not gold, that's gold find. Don't get that, completely worthless. Yeah, kidding, Clover. Mystic coins, that's for making legendaries and ascendants. Bag of coins, that's gold. Tombs of Knowledge, that's how you buy levels. Revive Orbs, that's how you res yourself if you turbo die. Vision Crystals, that's for crafting. Black Lion Coffer Masteries, ignore those, don't get those. Build Storage Expansion, never get those. Build Template Expansions, don't get those. Black Lion Salvage Kits. If you're really serious about salvage, just buy one of the ones from the real money. So, don't waste points on those. Upgrade Extractor. These are almost invaluable, because these pull relics and, runes, correct terminology, runes out of gear. And runes can go for like 2 or 3 gold each, so unless you want to spend another 12 gold buying another bundle, that's probably worth it. You'll notice I've actually already bought several of those because I was setting up my Ascended suit earlier. Bags of Laurels, that's for crafting. Mystic Clovers, that's for crafting legendaries. Obsidian Shards, that's for crafting legendaries. This increases your luck gain. This gives you crafting mats. This gives you money. This gives you, once again, crafting mats. Most of these are useful to some extent or another. Some of these are insanely useful. And it is relatively easy to get points. You will get points and then spend them, and then get points and then spend them as long as you're playing the game. So, let me explain how this works. Daily. So, the daily is going to reset in 2 hours. Yeah, that's right. 1 hour and 40 minutes looks like. So, you want to do a bare minimum of the full daily round, which is doing 4 of the things. You'll notice I have 5 options. So pick 4 of the 5, do 4 of those, do them. Login is always one of them. So you always get 1 of 4, just like that. Break an enemy's Defiance bar, that's a joke. All you have to do is participate in breaking Defiance bar. I'll talk about what Defiance bars are later. Participate in a Rift Hunt, that's one of the new expansion things. You might not have access to that if you're new. Defeat 10 enemies in the Heart of Baguma, that's a joke. Craft 10 items, that's a joke. So, boom. Takes 20 minutes at the absolute high end, and you've got your daily. This gives you... Well, it doesn't tell me. It gives you 1 gold, and it gives you a bunch of other stuff, including the all-important coins, which you can then spend on the vault. The weekly is the same thing, it just gives you more. And it's a weekly instead of a daily. As you notice, I've already finished this one, too. A little pro tip. Every single weekly will always have complete the such-and-such jumping puzzle, okay? We haven't talked about jumping puzzles. And that's because I hate them and I want them to die. However, every week, I guarantee you, when you do a jumping puzzle, when one of these jumping puzzle things shows up, you will be able to hit a button. It's not there because I've already done it. But if it isn't there, you'll hit a button. It'll be like... And it'll be like... And it'll have all these sound effects, just like I'm saying here. And it'll say, here's the jumping puzzle around here. And you're like, oh, that's cool. Why don't I just warp over here? Boom. So you warp over here. And what you're going to see when you go there... Yeah, I like good jumping, Aurelia. Hey, there's actually a command here. This is hysterical. So... Get rid of that sound effect. Get rid of that sound effect. I hate that sound effect. Oh my god. Go away, go away, go away. There we go. Okay. So, you'll notice there'll be a commander there. It'll look like that. It'll be a tag like that. You can right-click. This guy doesn't, but you can click him, hit Join Squad. If it's one of the jumping puzzle commanders, they're AFK. You can join their squad, use a teleport to them item, and then open the chest at wherever they're standing. They're at the end of the jumping puzzle. Jumping puzzle complete. You can also just do the jumping puzzle if you want to. I am being a bit exaggerative. Most of the jumping puzzles are actually fine in this game. There are a few that are terrible that can go straight to hell. But if you're just interested in essentially exchanging a teleport to friend item for, you know, weekly progress, there you go, right? By the way, teleport to friends are invaluable. Hoard them as much as you want. If there's one thing I recommend you buy in this game, this is not a joke, it's that one. It is the recharging teleport to friend. That is an infinite recharge. It takes 10 minutes to cool down, but it's just there. You'll notice I have it in my shared storage because I use it freaking constantly. I lean on that pretty hard. Anyways. So that's how the vault works. The vault's great. The vault is a wonderful way to... it's essentially a form of bad luck protection. It gives you an encouragement to keep doing stuff, and that encouragement gives you something that is demonstrably useful. It is a great way to gear up because of the way it increases access to Ascendants is hard to overestimate. To put this into terminology, before the vault showed up, I had 2 Ascended items. One of which was a drop, and the other of which I spent way too much time crafting. Now I have an entire suit, plus weapon, on that. Now, there's actually an asterisk to that, but the point is, getting Ascended items has always been just kind of a thing, right? And this opened up getting Ascended gear, which remember is the best stat gear, tremendously. And again, making legendaries cheaper, helping with crafting legendaries, all this stuff is useful and worthwhile. And if it's not, you can just get some skins, right? Cool. Moving on. Achievements. Terrible, terrible achievements. You may or may not even remember this, but the gun... Where am I? There I am. I mentioned a legendary I crafted. I'm not counting the accessories. That was actually a separate thing. The legendary I spent time raising, I think it was Huntsman, and then crafting was this gun right here. This is actually an Ascended gun. There it is right there, boom. The Dark Matter rifle. I hated it. I hated every second of crafting this goddamn gun. Now, granted, I did this a long time ago. So, it's not the same as it used to be. A lot of this game has been opened up and quality of life and generally smoothed out with regards to preparing those things. But back in the day, crafting this stupid rifle was a pain in the ass, and I hated it. Moving on. I'm not saying all Ascended are like that. I'm just saying when they added the ability to just freaking buy an Ascended in the shop, I was just like, oh, thank you. It's worth noting, I should probably mention, that if you go to buy stuff here, so you may not notice this. Yep, no, I'm right. There is no Ascended gear. You cannot buy Ascended gear from the auction house. I thought so, but I wanted to double check myself. You can buy some legendaries. Like all of our Arene stuff that's Gen 3 is there. And I think all of Gen 1 stuff is on here too. Like Eternity, which is 4,000 gold now. Wow. Why is it going for that much? Can't buy Gen 2s. Yeah, Ascended is account bound. Which, yeah, makes sense. A little bit worse, Raleigh. A little bit worse than that. Just a little bit. Now, real quick, thank you, Sean, for the sub. I wasn't ignoring you, I was just in the middle of talking. Yeah, but Eternity's kind of easy to get nowadays, especially if you know what you're doing. And yeah, literally, Sunrise is on the vault right now. So that's going towards Red Dead Redemption 1, Spider-Man on the PC, and Shantae. Okay, by the way, vote if you haven't, please, for those of you who care. Oh, of course, Sean. I wanted to talk about two things. So we talked about the vault. The vault's good. The vault's good. The vault is good. We'll call that itemization. I just thought of another thing I wanted to talk about. Oh god, now of course I can't remember what it is. There's so many things. Yeah, you were correct, Arlie. I'm mostly talking about like systems, UI, and stuff like that. We'll probably spend tomorrow leveling our Elementalist. Fishing doesn't matter yet. Skiffs doesn't matter yet. Novelties doesn't. This is all just cosmetic-y stuff that doesn't matter. You'll never even see me use a finisher. Glider doesn't matter yet. Dyes, I haven't actually talked about dyeing yet. The dyeing system's weird. The dyeing system itself is really good and worthy of positives. We'll put that under cosmetics. Unlocking dyes sucks. I've actually already given that negative, I just noticed. And I've already talked about why it sucks. I haven't really talked about wardrobe, but I'm not going to. Or sorry, not wardrobe, sorry. Outfits. Outfits is real money. I have a few outfits, as you can see. I think I bought 2 of them. I think it's that one and that one I bought. Everything else I just got from the bench or whatever. But wardrobe. So this is your transmog. So, similar to World of Warcraft, as you can see, these are the helmets I've unlocked. So I can just apply any of these outfits. Yeah, I think that's what it was called. I can just apply any of these helmets to my helmet. Just boop. And that'll pop up the visual over there. It costs a transmutation charge. Transmutation charge you get from various things. You know, so I only have like 60 of them. 68 specifically. So I don't have a huge amount of those. I already talked about legendary weapons. I already talked about legendary gear for that matter. What's different about legendary armor, other than the fact that you have to get 3 full suits of legendary gear, which is just so terrible. Oh my god. Even Pax hasn't done that. He's insane. Double tap to dodge has its own problems. That's why there's... So actually, fun fact, we just talked about jumping puzzles. I want to talk about jumping puzzles too. Hang on, let's put that under secondary. The good jumping puzzles are good. The bad jumping puzzles are bad. Go ahead and slot this in like this. There's an option. I'm not actually sure where it is. Give me a sec to find it. Is it in control? No. It's gotta be here. There's a lot of options. There it is. Right there. Double tap to evade. That allows me to do this. See? So double tap to evade, because it's chrome. It's made of chromium, Spartan. Double tap to evade is something a lot of people use, myself included. If you're going to do any jumping puzzle, get rid of that. Turn that sucker off. And in control bindings, there's actually specifically a dodge key binding, which you can put. So you can actually put a dedicated dodge button down. Because double tap, let me put it very simply. Double tap is fine for the majority of the content we'll be covering, which is MSQ stuff. If you want to get into anything hard, yeah, you're probably going to want to bind it to a specific button. You can also, and as usual, the usual asterisk, there's always abilities that allow you to dodge or avoid damage as well. What did I miss talking about the armory? Like, cosmetic-y stuff? I already talked about that. Hang on, I do need to talk about this, so, when you get a piece of gear, I think it's like you get an item in your inventory, and you have to right-click it, and there's an option that's basically unlock skin. Once you click unlock skin, you can't sell it on the auction house. You can vendor it. I think you can salvage it, but you can't do anything else with it. So it's not like, say, WoW, where you get an item and it's just there. You have to specifically decide to go ahead and unlock that skin. I have very few skins, because I just don't care that much. But that's how you unlock stuff for this. That's how you get stuff. You can also hit randomize appearance, which just kind of does something like this, and it literally does exactly what it sounds like. You can hit it again, and again, and again. It's pretty terrifying. I wouldn't do that. You can, though. Let's see. So the transmog system itself, probably called the transmog system itself is actually quite good in this game. This is very much a fashion-oriented game. Once you've got your 80 orange gear with the right runes in it, you're probably going to spend way more of your time doing, you know, the fashion side of things than anything else. Unless you're working on a legendary. Excuse me, 1 second. Because nobody reminded me to go get water. Yeah, I would say it's much better than FF14 system. And it's not as good as WoW's. The problem with WoW's system is it keeps getting better. They keep improving it. Okay, I talked about Ascendants, I talked about gear, I talked about that, I talked about the vault, I talked about the... What else am I going to talk about? About the auction house, I talked about the bank and how extremely limited it is. Combat, yes, it was something about combat. We were talking about evading, and there was something specific about combat I wanted to talk about, which was relevant. I think this goes under core combat. So, anything group, you actually saw this earlier today when we were doing Dragon's Stand. Anything in combat is a tremendous just field of good luck figuring out what the hell's going on. But otherwise, you see red circles on the ground, that's bad, you get out of those, and you see green circles on the ground, that's good, you stay in those, right? Pretty simple stuff. This game does use telegraphs. It doesn't use them as much as FF14 or WoW, honestly, at this point. But it still has the telegraph system. Usually telegraphs are more... Well, actually, here, I can just show you. Usually telegraphs... Why am I in Lion's Arch? Hang on. Waiting. We have to decide if this is a negative, by the way. I don't want to sound negative, but this is a pretty unoptimized game running on very old code, and as a result, these load times are real. There's no avoiding it. Pretty much every capital city has that issue to some extent or other. There is a reason I hang out in the Gendaran fields. Yeah, I noticed the load times have gotten worse lately. So, to show off what I mean, is the telegraph. And there's, like, a well of death I have put on the ground, right? Or I could pull one over there, too. So, friendly telegraph. But it looks like that. They pretty much all look like that. You've actually seen them, even if you haven't been paying attention throughout the whole thing, as they've been doing them. I don't think these do one. I think these just attack. So now is as good a time as any to talk about combos. The goal, Madame, whatever. So I believe it's 8 is the one? Oh, well, whatever. Why would they add them to MOAs? Alright, so combo skills. Okay, so every class in the game, plus a couple of mounts, like, say, this ability right here, most of the stuff that leaves something on the ground like this prompts a combo. This is a combo setup, right? Then a lot of classes have specific abilities that are combo payoffs. They're exactly what they sound like. Do more damage because of combo. I don't know if there's anything other than just do more damage. Feel free to correct me on that. Mostly I just tend to know on my classes which my combo setups and payoffs are for whatever build I'm running. Like I just mentioned, I know this one is, that's a setup, and that's a payoff, for example. Apparently you can combo blast buffs. I didn't know that. Yeah, there's a bunch of combo-y stuff. It's a whole other system that, is it going to sound strange? You never have to think about unless you start doing the hard stuff. Once you start getting into the hard stuff, like strikes or high-end fractals, you probably need to be thinking about actually comboing stuff. It's, like so much of this game, it's not necessary for the main story stuff, the MSQ stuff. But it's a nice bonus thing, especially if you know what you're doing. Core combat. So, core combat. That's the other thing I want to talk about. So we'll put combos first, because combos are cool. Let's talk about the core combat itself. So I'm going to say the most unpopular thing that I could ever possibly say. I generally tend to enjoy WoW's combat more. But not because of the core combat itself, because WoW's core combat is relatively simple. It's very frenetic, it's very fast-paced, it's all based on targeting something very quickly and using your kit. But that's the thing, isn't it? WoW's combat is almost entirely set on the kit of the class design and the enemy design, and boss design, right? That's where the combat is. The core combat itself is relatively simple and WoW. By contrast, Guild Wars 2 has a lot going on for it when it comes to this. The speed with which it attacks, the fact that you don't even have to target something to attack it, understanding your ranges and your cleaves. Like, for example, you saw this on my gunner, my sniper, if you're paying attention. I can just, yeah, whoosh. That just hits that guy there because I happen to know that he's in front of me, right? It's very fast. It's very fast-paced. A lot of the stuff in Guild Wars 2 only lasts for, like, buffs only last for a second or two. Combo attacks tend to have very, very short cooldowns. You'll almost never say, like, this is my biggest cooldown right here, and that is 150 seconds. That's, like, one of the biggest cooldowns I've ever seen. Most of my cooldowns are 25 seconds, 40 seconds, 16 seconds, 25, 20, 10, 8. Even the big one, Reaper mode, this is just a 10-second cooldown. Boom. Everything is designed to be very, very frenetic, very fast, and very reactive. And, again, between the moves, how the builds work, how the moves interact with each other, paying attention to what the enemies is doing, and doing the combo system, I honestly think, in terms of pure core combat, Guild Wars 2 is actually superior. There's more going on, but that's kind of the point, right? It's very action-y, for lack of a better word to use there. You can use that as a professional reviewer term, action-y. So I think I can swing an easy triple just for the core combat itself. Because it's really good. It's really fun. It, in many ways, feels a lot like ESO. I don't want to pick on ESO. Oh my god. That person has the frickin'... They have the backpack. They have the backpack. Oh my god. They are truly insane. Words that actually threw me. What was I in the middle of saying? ESO, right. No, ESO is awesome. I don't want to dismiss it. But I have one really big complaint with ESO, and that's the fact that you don't really vary up what you do a lot. The core combat is actually really solid in ESO. And I like the build setup. But once you've settled on a build you want, you're done, right? It doesn't really vary. Whereas in Guild Wars 2, like, the two weapon swapping thing, the fact that you've got all this over here, occasional new elite specs, cycling around utilities because you want to try something else, using different builds, you can swap between pretty much like that. In Guild Wars 2, the core combat of Guild Wars 2 and ESO are actually very similar, but Guild Wars 2 has more variety to it, and I think the variety helps. And yeah, exactly. Like, for example, my only thing here is turning into the Reaper. That's my F1 key. But if you're on an engineer, you've got tons of stuff. As an elementalist, you can swap between the 4 elements. As a thief, you can steal enemy abilities, which then gives you additional kit, etc. Right? That's what I was trying to cover, because Guild Wars 2 and ESO both are actually pretty good in terms of core combat. I think Guild Wars 2 squeaks out a little bit more because of that. Anyways, so that's core combat, which is awesome. Comparison. So yeah, I would say yes, Aurelia. I had to think about that for a moment because I haven't been part of the fighting scene for a while, but I think yeah, that's a really good comparison. And then FF14 is something more like the recent Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Ranger, Soul Beast, which actually I think is what I'm going to turn my Ranger into. I forget. I have it written down somewhere. Anyways. Okay, so we've talked about mounts, we've talked about kit, we've talked about builds, we've talked about the interface and how much it sucks. Let's talk about the HUD while we're here. I'm going to go ahead and be honest. I don't like this HUD. The fact that I can barely change it doesn't help. Yes, I know I can increase its size, but I don't find it super informative. Do me a favor, glance at my buffs right now and tell me what they are at a glance. Which is important, especially if you want to optimize your output. Honestly, at this point in time, I barely know the icons for my abilities. I just know what the 5 button does, because it's always 5. You actually cannot, asterisk, cannot rebind 5. It's always 5. You cannot rebind 3. It's always 3. Yeah, I can tell you boons. I actually don't think I give any on this character. So I'll just swap it. Why am I on Caledon? Where am I? Yeah, there's buffs. Oh, I'm here because this is the next dungeon. Ah, yes, yes. Ah, the hellscape awaits me. I don't know if I can kill this guy. Hang on. Okay, I can. We're good. We're good. We're good. Yeah, the buff bar is just So hang on. Let me just show off a little bit here, real quick. Yeah, but I want to take Blade Taval. Blade Taval really wants to see the dungeons, and he has specifically requested that I drag him through. I'm pretty sure Brigwin would like to as well. She can correct me or not if she wants on that. But anyways, so blue buffs, right? So yeah, there's your nourishment, there's your celebration bonus. I notice I don't have the reinforcement buff right now. But if I do a bunch of stuff like, say, this, and 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 this, this. Okay, so there's a bunch of buffs, right? Boom. Nice, big, obvious buffs. And I will even give credit that the duration on it, which is that white outline, is relatively visible. But then there's all this crap. And as I showed off just a second ago on my Necro, you can get a whole lot of the blue buffs, which just sit there and it's like, And also, if I might be so bold, let's do that one more time. So, how many of you could tell that I just gave myself different buffs than what I had done before? The fact that it's a buff is easily visible. The duration on the buff is easily visible. Figure out the specific icon, it's white on yellow. And yes, I know you can make it bigger, but it's just, I really feel like the visibility of the buff tray in general could use some help. By the way, I think the same thing about FF14. And that's just, like, color coding. Just do some basic color coding, right? That's all that would really take to fix that, I think. Oh yeah, that's true. There's also things where specific relics which do with certain things which are very useful under certain circumstances. So yeah, that's problematic. And like I said, these, it's fine, but some of these are so tiny. Like, look, here's where my novelties are. Hey, you see this tiny, tiny, tiny button down here? This is where you activate your skiff and the rift and your jade bot and where you can fish. Now, that's all, like, expansion-specific stuff, but when I came back to the game just a few months ago as I was starting to prepare for this very run, I couldn't find that damn button. I could not figure out where the stupid button was. So, Giga says you can kick the mastery icon. I just proved that you cannot do that. Also, there's a dancing cactus. There's a dancing choya here. That's Pax, actually. Okay, right click. Okay, right click. None of this is making this better. I'm just going to be really... Oh yeah, there's also this tiny little button here. Very tiny button that allows you to swap. What I'm trying to say is I've seen worse. I'm not trying to bash this game too much, but I do think the HUD could use a bit of a polishing pass, which honestly, it's probably never going to get, because we know they're already working on Guild Wars 3, right? So, the end, right? That's it. So I don't think the HUD is great. Negative. I'm only going to give one negative, I think. It's not the end of the world. It's just, it could really use a polishing pass. Oh yeah, actually, speaking of, so this is the minimap, right? And you can move the minimap to here. And that's it. You can have it down right, or you can have it upright. One of the two. Enjoy. Mr. Red asks a very valid question. Do I think Guild Wars 2 will continue to be online? Hang on. So here's the problem. I have zero doubt that ArenaNet would keep Guild Wars 2 online if it was their call. How many MMOs has NCSoft killed? So, they could have just put those on maintenance mode. City of Heroes had plenty of players to just keep the lights on, right? Just to name one example of that. WildStar had enough of a player base to just keep the lights on. Nope. Axed it. I would say 50-50 chance. Because it's really all about NCSoft's decision on that. ArenaNet doesn't get a say there. I hope so. Guild Wars 2 is a good game. I know I've spent a lot of today bashing it, but again, that's because I try to get the bad out of the way first and all the mechanical stuff out of the way first. I really do think that this is a fantastic game. I look forward to playing a huge chunk of it, except for vanilla, until we get through it. So, yeah, we'll see. Admittedly, that is part of the reason, if I'm being very honest with you guys, that I decided to push some Dealer's Choice into Guild Wars 2 to get it funded early so we could do this relatively early. Obviously, I wanted to do it while I'm in the temporary streaming setup because, you know, it's a good game to kind of ease back into streaming in. However, I was also a little bit worried about the future of Guild Wars 2. Just a little. Just a tiny bit. It's not like Tor or STO where those games were clearly dying, right? I'm just a little bit concerned about Guild Wars 2. Anyways. So that's the HUD. I talked about that. I'm not really going to show off PvP because that's a whole other thing. WVW. I'm not going to review WVW. But this is WVW. It's the whole thing. It's actually really cool. If you get into it right. There's kind of like a weird asterisk there. So there are 4 battlegrounds going at the same time. There's the Eternal Battlegrounds right in the middle, and then there's one for each of these 3 domains. And these change every, I don't know how often. I don't know some of the specifics here, because I don't do that much WVW. Apparently I am in the wood tier this week. Oh, you know what? New player onboarding. That's actually a good thing. We'll come back to that, though. Pin in that. You can kind of see where people have been going. Jeez Louise. Reward tracks. I actually talked about this because I currently have the Gifted Battle reward track, and that is what I plan to do if I ever go back to it. There's all kinds of reward tracks. Well, how this works, this is actually a cool system. I do like this. It's not perfect, but it is a cool system. The way this works is as long as you are doing something that generates experience, that's the requirement, then you will continue to be active, okay? As long as you're active, every tick, which I want to say is every 5 minutes, you gain a chunk of progression in your reward track. How much progression depends on what rank you are. You can get up to 6 just for normal stuff. I was up to 6 relatively easily. Here's the caveat, right? If you do not gain experience for a period of time, you start to bleed. Your participation starts to bleed out. And bit by bit, it'll be you go from 6 to 5 to 4 to 3, etc., etc. So you do have to actually participate, but if you do, you just maintain it. In other words, if you're just doing anything, even if you're losing, as long as you are getting experience, that's the caveat, you are still generating reward track. So Pax and I were actually getting my gift of battle for Frenzy, which I sold to get the money I have right now. And that was just a whole lot of running around and getting our faces stomped in for the most part. But it was fine, because every now and again I'd kill something, or I'd defeat an NPC or whatever, and I would get experience. I'd retain my progress. So I would keep my participation, and I would keep going down the battle track, even if I was losing. That's important. Something that a lot of games don't understand is you have to reward players for losing. I know that sounds contradictory, but if you don't reward players for losing, a chunk of players are going to leave because they feel like they're getting nothing, because they are getting nothing, and a whole bunch of players who might engage in the system won't because they know they have to win or else. Right? This is a problem in any game with competitive multiplayer, not just MMOs. So this is a good system. Again, we're not reviewing this. This is part of the other content, but I just wanted to talk about this because these reward tracks are a good way to get some extra stuff, and this gift of battle is used in a lot of legendaries. So this is a good way to get that. You can also get like a Mystic Clover, an Amalgamated Gemstone, another Mystic Clover. You get it. You also level. This is the stuff. I'm level 20. Yay! I'm so high level. You can tell I don't do jack WVW. You actually put these into talent points, which you can see right there. It does specific talent pointy things for specific stuff. General suggestion is, let's see if I can find it, Guard Killer and Mercenary's Bane. Guard Killer does increase damage to base commanders, by the way. Although not until you get up to there, at the 20 marker. So, new player onboarding. I said I would talk about that. Any class agent, Necro. Play Necro. If you're brand new to the game, Necromancer is very new player friendly, and it's a great class in general. Supply limit. Oh my god, supply limit. So, elitism and tribalism is really the answer that Aurelia. So new player onboarding experience. Guild Wars 2, obviously I haven't actually done the new player experience yet, so I can't really speak to that, but I can tell you right now that Guild Wars 2 is a really comfortable game to walk into. I actually know several people personally who have just jumped into this game very recently, like in the last couple of months, as they knew this run was coming. And it's a very smooth onboarding. You set up your account, you make your new character, you have a terrible intro, and then you just kind of go. And the game does a pretty good job of onboarding you into most of its mechanics and systems as you go. There are some exceptions to that. That's what the wiki's for. The game does not get credit for that. However, I was about to say, Golgrim, I would say this is the second easiest game to onboard of the major MMOs out there right now. The only reason that there's an asterisk there is because WoW is crazy easy to get into. WoW has done so much to make the new player experience better. Recently, it's worth noting, as of the expansion we're currently in, War Within. Now, hang on. I was just about to give the asterisk Bregwin mentioned. So, Steam Guild Wars 2 and Site Guild Wars 2 are, for all intents and purposes, different games. This is the same thing in FF14, by the way. FF14 is the exact same way. So treat it like that, okay? If you buy the game on Steam, if you pick up Guild Wars 2 on Steam, do all your stuff through Steam. If you pick it up through their website, do all the stuff through the website, okay? Codes for one do not work with the other and vice versa, okay? There's a bunch of under-the-hood, behind-the-scenes reasons for this. I understand why. It's very frustrating. Yeah, Fallout 76 is the exact same way. It's kind of a Steam thing, really, more than anything else. So just be aware of that. Does race matter? Not at all. Race is cosmetic. Pick a race that you either like the sound of or you like the look of. Unfortunately, you cannot play this lovely frog gentleman here. Sorry. Yeah, agreed. Gambling. I actually do not have the Steam count for a bit of perspective. Where is Bregwin? I lost her. Oh, no, there she is. Yeah, she's a Sylvari. I actually really like Sylvari. They're such a cool race. Sylvari and Charr are just both total badasses. Because I'm playing a Charr, by the way. That's me. Anyways, yeah, exactly, gambling. I mentioned the wiki. Quick reminder, if you type /wiki in chat, it pulls up the wiki. in your browser, lean on it. I know that's a thing that sounds weird coming from me, but it's a really good wiki, and it has some built-in thing. I actually promised I'd show this off a second time. So let's say the 10th birthday gift. So I'm going to do wiki. Then I'm going to link this item in my chat. So you see that right there? /wiki space, and I linked the item. Boom. And it will pull up the wiki for that item's page in the wiki. It is a really good wiki, and the in-game integration is really, really solid. Also, if you want to find the timers page, it's /wiki space ET is the command for that. Apparently, I get a proof of legend if I open that birthday gift. I should probably open these. There we go. Boop. Oh, hey, look. More teleport to friends. Yeah, that's probably where I got most of those from. Let's see what I got. Spirit shards. Yes. Yes, give me my spirit shards. Yes, give me my spirit shards. Give me my karma. Give me my karma. Those go in the bank. Those go in the bank. And I think that's it. And some birthday boosters. Can always use birthday boosters. Chat. Oh, gosh. Chat is pretty good, I would say. It's better than FF14's. FF14's chat is honestly kinda not great. Probably because it's based on FF14 ARR's, or sorry, 1.0's version, which itself was designed to be working on an old PlayStation. But there's good color coding, there's good customization, you can click a lot of stuff, you can mouse over a lot of stuff, you know, you can, hey, what's this? Hey, what's this? You know. Chat's pretty good. I actually agree. So decent chat design. Okay. Let's find out. Test. Yes, there's a chat bubble. I have no add-ons running, so... Yes, that's another thing you can do. Like, for example, I could be like... Oh, that didn't actually work. Probably because I didn't have it. Let's try this one. No? Does it have to be one I have? Yeah, there we go. So I can just say that in chat, and that will pull up a thing, and then if you click it, it'll show the exact waypoint in question, which is really cool. What faction values loyalty above all? I don't think I have any faction that values loyalty as a primary thing in the Extant Gundam, because that's stupid. I don't mean it's stupid to write that, I mean having that kind of a value is stupid. Go into the storage. I don't know if this game has gamepad support. Does anyone know the answer to that? Can you play this game with a gamepad controller? Valid question. I don't actually have an answer for you. I wouldn't know. I play with mouse and keyboard. I know FF14 does. I know WoW was working on it. There is action combat, but I don't know if that works with a gamepad. Oh god, Bregler's trying to kill me. Oh, I know exactly what you meant, Go. 100%. There's actually a trope for that. It's called My Country, Right or Wrong. Apparently you can use the Steam mapping on for a control pad. I didn't actually know that. But of course, that's probably only going to work for the Steam version of the game, so keep that in mind. I feel like there's like one thing I'm missing, but I don't think it matters that much. I think we've covered all of the basics. Everything. We've covered equipment, we've covered builds. Hero points suck. Can I just say that? Hero points suck. I hate hero points. I actually legitimately want to give a negative for hero points, and here's why. Because they suck. They're per character, but like by the point at which you need them, they're just a hassle. They're not difficult, they're not challenging, they're not interesting. It's just go do the same thing you already did on another character again to get the same hero points again. Now do it 50,000 times. I'm exaggerating. You have to do it, I want to say about 30 times? Does that sound about right? Yeah, that's right. 30 times. in order to be able to access like a specific new elite spec. And you have to do this periodically because, hey, look, there's a new elite spec. Here, right here, boom, 250. So sorry, excuse me, it's actually 25 times. So I have to go get 25 new hero point things just to try out Willbender. I'd love to try out Willbender, but it involves getting hero points, and I hate getting hero points. Ugh. So I think this just needs to be per account, honestly. I've already said Scarlet's armies are invading. What? I've already said that I legitimately think that waypoints should be pined on account. Just waypoints. Yes, Madam Winifred. But I also think that hero points, specifically hero points, should be per account, excuse me, just like mastery points are. In the exact same way, in the exact same thing. Just, hey, look, I have on this character that I've never done End of Dragons on. I just have 35 mastery points because it's a count. That would completely nullify this problem. It's easily the biggest complaint I have about this game, and it's one of the reasons I haven't varied up my builds all that much, is because I hate trying to find a hero train, and I hate doing hero trains. Storm Regional. Oh, this is actually really cool. This deserves its own positive. So this used to be massive negatives, but then they made it so that you don't have to buy each individual Living World season individually if you didn't catch it when it was live. That was a terrible idea. Anyways, so let's ignore that because it's gone and it's in the garbage where it belongs. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I literally clicked by accident. Hang on, let's just delete that. So let me explain why this quest log is awesome. So I actually talked about this before. This is the quest log, the only quest log, okay? The only quests are MSQ. There's other stuff. We'll talk about that more when we actually level tomorrow. But the quest log is all the main story stuff. It actually, by the way, cool little thing. You see over here, it actually says the date of when these happen. So as you can see, if we scooch down here, it's been, what is that, 12 years since the game started in lore. That's really cool. Yeah, you want to see the actual quest log. You'll notice I haven't pulled it up yet. This right here is the quest log. This absolute goddamn insanity is the actual quest log. I'm not even halfway through this thing. Hang on. There you go. That's the quest log right there. Don't worry about that. We're not even touching that for the purposes of this review. We're just going to leave that. This right here is the stuff. This is what we're primarily reviewing. The MSQ, the main story quest. So in addition to just having it all lined out, having a nice little description, and having the timestamp, the really cool part is you can just skip ahead. I own everything, so I could just start Gen 3 Wilds on this character right now. I could just skip ahead to Path of Fire, I could skip to Path of Thorns, I could skip back to Living World Season 1. That's awesome. That's a great feature. You can also do it pretty much on the fly. You're not locked in. Like here, watch. I'm going to just start Living World Season 3. Boom. Hey, I'm in Living World Season 3. You know what? I feel like going Living World Season 1 now. Boom. And you just shift. Push a button. Just like that. It is a great... It's not quite as good as Diablo 3, but it's a very good quest log. I know that sounds strange, but it is. And it's a great way to just bounce around, see where you're at, and see what you're at on which characters. This is also why some of my characters have done some stuff and not others, is because I just skip over stuff, right? Is doing the MSQ required? No? I'm going to go with no. Yeah, we'll stick with that. No. This is meat content, but you don't have to do meat content. So that's a cool option. It also will show you like what's active right now. And hang on. What's am I right now? Where did I end up? Asura, let's just go back to here. There we go. It also changed your log up here to accommodate the fact that you have changed where you're at up here. So, well, that's true. You kind of have to do the MSQ to get to some of the zones. Or you can have a friend and use a teleport to friend. Those are the two options there. Interface. Quest log. Very good quest log. Okay. So that's your MSQ. Crafting. So we're not covering crafting. Crafting is super optional, and the only reason you want to do it is if you want to build, well, let's be honest, if you want to build legendaries, don't worry about it. Achievements. So you remember how I said this is 2 games? You can actually find the entire second game on this screen. It's all here. It's all here. The game, we've talked about this before. The game uses achievements to track everything. Let me tell you a little bit about what you're seeing here. So, for example, do you see these weird icons? Each of these are mastery points I have not yet gotten. So, for example, I could still get Tyria mastery points by doing this achievement. Add these achievements, add this achievement, add this achievement, blah, 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 blah. So that's a nice little bit of interface design. Good color coding. There's your fractals, there's your strike missions, there's your collections. There's just, oh my god, there's so much. There's so much. Don't worry about this. How much of the first game is here? Maybe like 2%. Don't even worry about it. The first game is functionally not on this screen. You'll get stuff. You'll get achievements for just doing stuff. But it'll be such a pittance. I mean, I have 6,000 achievement points. And that is pathetic. just to put it into perspective. Masteries. So, once you hit level 80, you keep leveling. And the zone you're in... So, I actually dislike this. I'm going to explain why in a second. But the zone you're in determines which category of mastery experience you gain mastery in. Okay? So, I'm here in Gandharan Fields, which means I'm gaining Tyria mastery. If I was to warp over to one of the Heart of the Thorn zones, I would gain Heart of Thorns experience. Make sense? That is the biggest change I would make to the mastery system. Make it so you can just select a thing and gain experience wherever you are. Honestly, that would completely remove any complaints I have about the mastery system. I am still stuck on gaining experience in Maguma, and have been for years because of this system. Moving on. But the way these work, let's use Path of Fire. Much better system. Much better designed. The way these work is you gain experience in a thing like this. You see this bar right here? It slowly fills up, and it has a specific amount of experience it needs. It always escalates as you're going down. Once it fills up, you can then spend that many mastery points to gain that ability. These are functionally talent pointy kind of things, but they're mostly non-combat related. Some of them are. Some of this does give you some kind of combat benefit, like Bond of Life, for example. But, for example, this is all just my Sky Scale. This is for my Griffin. This is for my Roller Beetle, Jackal, Skimmer, Springer, Raptor. It's all mount stuff, right? Ice Brood has a couple of things, like you've got the Attunement, which give you some abilities in combat, and the United Legion's Way Station, which is obviously its own thing. End of Dragons has Skiff Piloting, which is useful. Jade Bot, I would consider this one mandatory. Arbor Stone, which is pretty useful if you're going to go to the Turtle Mount, which I'm nowhere on. You get it, right? So, the whole system here is it's a twofer. You gain experience in a zone to max out the bar. Once the bar's maxed, you burn mastery points on getting it. How do you get mastery points? 3 ways. The third way is achievements. Don't worry about that. Really, don't. That's the other game. The second method to get mastery points is to just go out and do them in the world. I can actually show off any on this character. Check here. Are there any masteries here that I can see? Are there masteries in the starter zones? I actually don't remember. It might not be. This character's been nowhere. Maybe. There's one. Boom, right there. So what you do is you go and you find a mastery right there, okay? They're labeled on the map. Nothing indicates them. You just have to see the icon there. And once you see the icon, it's like, aha, mastery point. And you find the spot, and you either summon something to kill it or do an event or whatever. Oh, there's one I don't have right there, for example. That's what it'll look like. Or you just interact with it. Usually finding the mastery point is the hard part. I think it'll show me these ones. Okay, no, it doesn't. Okay. Because I don't have this area explored, it's not showing. I actually have a bunch of mastery points up here. Mastery points are by an account. like I said, the hero points should be. You do want at least some masteries. Honestly, if you're just going through the MSQ, don't sweat it. Like, don't stress about it, is what I mean by that. Just keep an eye on the map, and it's like, oh, hey, there's a mastery. Oh, yeah, here, let's... And, of course, there's none here, but like, oh, hey, there's a mastery point. And just go grab it, right? I think they are, Giga, to be quite honest with you. It's worth noting that the only expansion I have that problem with is Heart of Thorns. They fixed it. They fixed the experience curve, and they fixed the mastery gain curve. Both in Path of Fire, so... okay. And yeah, Courtier, I have mentally given up on ever leveling Legendary Crafting, because I would need 15 Mastery points. I have 1. I have all the Mastery points that I can procure. Unless I go start doing this crap. And to be clear, in order to get this 1 Mastery point, I have to do all of this. To get this one, I need to do all of this. To get this one, I need to do all of this. Yeah, fractals have a bunch too. That's down here. Yeah, see, there's the fractals right there. Each of these have a bunch. There's that one. There's that one. So. I walked away from that, honestly. I just mentally was like, you know what? I got what I really wanted, which was Pact Commander maxed out. Advanced Logistics, completely worth it. And yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Oh, excuse me. I do think, similar to a problem FF14 has, I think they didn't sit down and math out some of this stuff. Excuse me. But the mastery system is an interesting little side system that I both like and hate. We'll put this under secondary progression. What do I call it? Alternate. Oh, I do too, Colgrim. That's not what I mean at all. Let me explain what I mean, because I hinted at it earlier, but I didn't say it out loud, so let me be very, very clear. Heart of Thorn's experience gain is too slow. Path of Fire experience gain is just right. You'll notice my issue is the inverse in both, right? I need experience here, but I'm just swimming in mastery points. Down here, I've maxed out all 3 of these, and I need to go search mastery points in order to progress. This is better designed. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know if they did that past this. Like, I'm pretty sure they did that with End of Dragons, too, because I'm kind of in the same boat down here. But yeah, here's this. Yeah, you need to be doing the metas, of which there are 3, I want to say. There's Octo, there's the Drac or Crack, or whatever the hell they're called, and then there's Dragon's End. 4. What's the 4th one? These suck. I hate them. Moving on. It's also worth noting that the other big problem is that... Oh, nighttime, right, of course. Heart of Thorns, you could tell they were kind of experimenting with masteries because some of these are basically mandatory. And by basically, I mean actually mandatory in order to progress. You need updraft use. You need E-Tree to just sub-bomb my face. You don't need bouncing shrooms, but you were intended to need bouncing shrooms. You also want Itzel Poison Lore, or there's certain stuff you just can't do. The Exalted stuff, I forget what this is for, but this is for something. New Hawk, you also get something. Like each of these has something that was intended to be mandatory. Now, how mandatory it is now, more debatable, right? Because the game has progressed and we have other methods to get around. But the point is, when they designed this, they really wanted you to get these masteries, and they did not design the experience gain to accommodate that. That's what... You're right. I'm actually losing the ability to talk because I'm so dry. I'll be right back. Oh yeah, ley line gliding. That's another one. I forgot about that. Hang on. First, thank you, Eitri, very much. Always appreciate you. Thank you. Second of all, we've talked about this concept before while I write this down. Mandatory is an interesting word. God, still doing this up. That's funny. Because what is mandatory is more granular than people tend to think. When people think mandatory, they think you have to do this. Doesn't work that way. Too many years of playing MMOs, too many years of doing speed runs and challenge runs have taught me that mandatory is a suggestion, right? Rogue Trader, Expedition 33, and Pathfinder, Raw of the Righteous. You got it. Thank you, Eitri, again. So, mandatory is a granular thing, right? But there's also this concept called irritation. Wait, they're going to have character creation? Oh, that's so cool. Let me go... Hang on, give me one sec, because I can show this off for everybody. I actually showed it off earlier, but I didn't call it out. Let's get on... Where is she? And Sean, thank you very much for the bits. Hang on, let me put this up with your other donations right here. Little kitty, big city, Hollow Cure, and Red Dead Redemption 2. You got it. Thank you again. So, I have a sky scale. Cool. Isn't this great? This sky scale. All right. So, now that I've shown off that I have a sky scale, let's head up here for no particular reason. Let's go right back up to here. Now, I'm using this as an example because I don't have this yet. But anywhere where you don't have a particular mastery, this is going to happen. Exactly, Darkrai. Doing that level 1 task of Chrono Trigger taught me so much about what is actually mandatory in that game. You know what? I'm an idiot. Hang on. Let's do this correctly. Woo! Okay. Yeah, there's actually fights I thought were completely mandatory, completely unskippable, and they're not. Okay. See those wind jets over there? That's how you're supposed to get up there, okay? You with me? But I don't have the mastery for that. So if you happen to run into one, and trust me, you'll do so without intending to. I'm just using this as an example. You'll just roam into these in the world. That pops up. Do you see that? Do you see that right there? That irritating tutorial pop-up? Hey, you have found an updraft. Train enhanced updrafts in the flight training master track to use it with, and it will never shut up. This is called irritation cost. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It is an additional little irritation that is just irritating. It's a little irritant, but it's a constant one. And every time you glide into a ley line and don't have that, or fly into this thing and you don't have that, it'll just show up over and over again. And that kind of drifts into the concept of mandatory. Is it mandatory that you get that? Not necessarily, no. But yeah, it's Navi. It's freaking Navi from Ocarina. Hey, listen. So, generally speaking, most of these are well designed. That's really the point I was trying to get. The only exception is the Heart of Thorns ones, which just can go directly to hell. Pretty place. A little foggy. I need to change my glider back at some point. And I'll do it right now. Let's see. Oh no, it's actually under glider skins, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. What was the one I was using on her? No. I don't remember, actually. Yeah, we'll go with that. That works. There we go. That's a little bit better. The rainbow wings are fine, but eh. Oh yeah, this game uses very, very low resources. Probably because it's a really old game. I'm actually kind of concerned about what Guild Wars 3 is going to look like. Anyways. I think I've covered everything. I think I've actually covered everything. Like, this game could run on a potato, and you can actually absolutely crank the graphics all the way down, and it doesn't look that much worse. The biggest thing you'll notice is rendering. If you crank everything down, you see this ball right next to me here? Pretend that's another player. If I move, I'd say about this far away, I will not see that player. So, best bet to level when you're out of story quests. Yes, that is a problem, which we will discuss more in depth tomorrow. Because leveling in this game actually kind of totally sucks, especially if you're starting brand new fresh. Let me give you a weird piece of advice. This doesn't apply to you, Spark, but for anybody who is thinking about trying this game out, go make a new character right now. Buy the game, make a new character, log in, and then log out and walk away from the game for a few years until you've decided to actually play it. When you get back, you'll have a bunch of birthday items, so you'll have experience boosters. Anyways. Yeah, no kidding, E3. I don't know at this point. Who frickin' knows? We only have that one earnings call thing from last year to go off of when it comes to Guild Wars 3. There are adventuring challenges, and there's another thing we actually want to try out. Again, that's going to wait till tomorrow. In fact, hang on, let me go ahead and just scooch over here. Just log here really quick. Because tomorrow, we're going to level the worst class in the game. And we're going to see how bad the leveling experience really is nowadays. I mean, we are basically playing a Black Mage. We're playing an Elementalist. And it's going to suck. But you see this thing up here? Adventure Guide. From what I understand, this was added to the game to boost the experience past the way it was in the vanilla, because at launch it sucked. it was not great. So hopefully we'll be able to do it. Again, that's the whole purpose of making a brand new character. You notice I have no experience buffs. I have done nothing. I have a level 80 booster. I could just make myself level 80 right now, but we're not using that. That's going to be for our ranger. For our Elementalist, we're going to do it all natural, and we're going to see just how bad it really is, which I'm really looking forward to. But we'll be doing that tomorrow. Hope you guys have enjoyed. See you.